screen. See you guys tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. Lego.
Welcome to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every day. Neil and Sean, or an Obi, I was about to say Sean, are locked and loaded. No, Sean's enjoying his time in London. They're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you, so make sure to join Adair and I on How to Trade, the midday show, and go into the chat and get your vote every day. Here are the triple Qs, and it's been a great day right now on the futures, whether you're trading the ES, whether you're trading the NQ or the Dow or the Russell, they're all in positive territory right now as the markets recover from that huge sell-off we saw come in on the weekend and yesterday in the morning. So we'll continue to watch, see if the Qs can continue to move up 2 1/3 right now on that. Nvidia, though, the number one name as selected by you guys, no surprise there, 6 1/3% as it really gets working, trying to break through key levels, guys. Nvidia, they got that nice nod today from the SK Hynix headline. Looks like they're going to get some of that chip money, Neil.
Ooh, I was all about that chip money. Money moves for Nvidia today. So, spoiler alert, Nvidia went up. Shocker, that was a good long. But you know what? I do have a regret on Nvidia today. You can't okay, first of all, Randy's not here. I'm like, at this point, I'm just basically trained. I think Randy's creeping up behind me when you do that. So I did the whole look over my shoulder. You're not going to get me every time, Fabian, with that. And if you're just tuning into the show for the first time, Randy, one of our IT guys, will come by every now and then to talk some shop, grab the microphone, and we have that sound that happens. Kind of like when the Pokeroo shows up. Not that you probably have no idea what the Pokeroo is.
The TVO Kids show.
Okay, that was from my childhood.
Yeah.
How in the hell
we talked about this on the show with Sean last time I was on.
I was about to say.
No, I remember that Pokeroo, and then we were the little colorful pet called Bibble. Remember?
I'm not singing the polka dot door. Look, Nvidia.
Dude, childhood. Sorry.
Childhood memories are fantastic.
That's a jam. That's a banger. Come on.
I used to watch like Rocket Robin Hood. You guys have no idea what the heck that is. On Saturday morning, I watched Rocket Robin Hood, and then there was like Hercules. That was like some legit. I'm talking straight up gangster. Like where you look at that. There's animation that doesn't age well, and then there's animation you're like, they ever made stuff and thought this was cool? Trust me, and that was legit. They made the stuff in the 60s, but I watched it in the 80s. I'm not that old. So Nvidia, I had a mistake. The mistake was when it bounced off VWAP this here. And you can tell it was a change of plan because I had to take profit higher. And while that was out, spooked myself out at 105 and never got back in. But the story for Nvidia was we talked about this potential pullback at the open. So let it dip until it sees 100 or 98. I don't want to let it fly on Nvidia. So Nvidia did that move, no 105 breakout right at the open, let it dip, patience. It holds right in here just underneath the break of 101, makes the bottom at 101.5, in at 101 into VWAP. I got out at 03, I got back in at 03, I got out at 05, I got back in at 05 into 106. 105 came back again. That was maybe not the best entry, but this is the mistake. It was getting in at VWAP and only taking a buck on it. Nvidia is off to the races. Resistance is until just underneath the 108 bucks. It was the dip buy stock for me today, so I'm happy that we're long it. Okay, it wasn't the only one. Uber was as well, as was Palantir, but I don't see either of those on the list. But Nvidia was one of 3 stocks that we liked for the buy. All of them ended up working out, some better than others. I would suggest Nvidia was my best one. It probably should have been Uber in hindsight, but Uber was very good. And then Palantir was just okay. If we break 108, I think you can be off to the races. But I want to remind everybody, this is one of those stocks that has not gotten back to the close from Friday. A lot of things got up there, maybe even broke out. Nvidia is still holding underneath that close resistance on Friday. I think that's going to be a bit of a problem this afternoon. If you get above 08, take out that top, I think you can run, but I'll be waiting for like VWAP retracements, a little more conservative here. And yes, still short Intel. Oh, it's on the list. We'll talk about Intel a couple of symbols from now.
Yeah, no, that Intel is going to be an interesting one. But yeah, no, Nvidia resistance is futile. So coming into resistance as well. So I put up an anchored Neil when we did that bounce off that 100 in the after hours. So 100.01. Take a look at that. Traded below that. Now we're kind of coming into potential area of resistance there. Prior day's levels as well in this area here. But yeah, that push off of the open can't even get to that 100. We were talking about that 100 low in the pre-market. From the pre-market, take a look at what that intraday low is right here. It goes as far as 155. So pre-market lows, 100, 112, opening range low kind of clips in. Well, this is a 30-minute opening range because those are two 15-minute candles that print that. You make the initial range low at 77s, and then you come in and you grab that off of 55 before you just trend up all day. Again, we were talking about that confluenced with that 18 thou mark on the Nasdaq as well. So interesting price action on this. A little bit of continuation from yesterday. You're talking about the VIX reverting, and revert it did today for sure.
Tesla, one of the weakest Mag 7 names on the day, but it was able to reclaim that $200 level, up about 1 1/3 right now. Yeah, Kathy Wood, I should say, went shopping yesterday. ARK Invest, she picked about 12,500 shares of Tesla yesterday at the depressed price that it was. Separately, Tesla did announce a recall, an over-the-air update for 1.6 million vehicles in China, all to do with that front guys possibly coming loose while driving.
Next time we got to answer the phone when Kathy's calling and letting us know when she's going to buy. There were a lot of things you could have bought at the open. I talked about this before. Like, the only things I bought in my personal account is it's stuff that I had bids on that just happened to fill in that big depression that we had. It's depression, the big move down that we had. So Tesla was another one. Hey, didn't get to 174. Oh well. I guess it got so close that I'm calling that a win anyway. So if we do have Casro in the chat still, if you're there, as far as I'm concerned, and this was a call. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to speak for Casro in our chat, one of our viewers, but I'm fairly certain it was something along the lines of a 228 and taking some profit down underneath the 50 period, somewhere probably around 200, and then was looking for like this 174 area. Come on, that's good enough. Big win. Great one for you. Good look here on Tesla if you had the long. As I said, Palantir, Nvidia, and Uber were the longs for me today. But how different of a setup was it? It was a dip and a rip like yesterday's trade, but wow, was it a different dip and rip. I find it hard to have really liked that long here. It was so much weaker than everything else, then failed a break of VWAP underneath the previous close. Then it finally puts in a higher low. And this is probably the spot where you could have looked at a long. At that point, I really liked Uber and Nvidia much better, let's be real. But it did do that turn for you. Unfortunately, it still got the 204 resistance. I actually came in today when we were up here thinking 204 break. You probably rewind and hear me say that at some point in the pre-market. I mean, Tesla's set up for a 204 break. All Tesla's still set up for a 204 break. So who knew?
Yeah, no, that Tesla was quite aggressive right off of the open there. Let's take a look at that. So that was a 15-minute chart, flushing down past some of these some pre-market lows as well. Prior day, end of day consolidation lows just at that 196, comes right in to 192.65s. That's kind of this little pullback that we had after that strength that came in off of yesterday's dip and rip. Right there on Tesla, and that's where we kind of caught a little bit sideways action there. Now attempting to push some of these pre-market highs going into the end of the day. Very, very strong. They're pretty much a 100% reversion off of the lows, back testing back above the opening price, above. Well, day high right now is what? Day high is 202. 10s we're trading at 201. 90s we're pretty much right there, but pre-market highs a little bit higher than that, 203s, 204s as well, 4 a.m. candle high, 207. So we pretty much visited the range of yesterday and coming into those highs right there. A little bit of flat top breakout, right, Sharif?
Flat top. I like hearing that. The ES or the SPY right now up 1.87. We just took that 527 level on the SPY above 5,300 right now on the ES, but it's been a good day for these indexes, whether you're looking at the Dow, which is below 40,000 in that mid 39,000. The Rus, the ES, the NQ, we just gave up 18.4 on the NQ September contract, so be careful with that. Yeah, we're moving up higher, obviously, off that huge move down that we all experienced over the weekend and into Monday morning. But yesterday, we bought up that dip. We're continuing to buy it up today, guys.
It's continuing to be bought. It's just worthy noting where we're turning here and consolidating. We talk about this all the time. I think it applies to higher time frame charts, probably better on higher time frame charts. It applies to individual stocks. It's going to apply to the futures. It'll apply to the SPY, ETFs, just whatever you're trading. If you find a key support level, sometimes the easiest answer is you trade on into it is to, if you're looking for a top, forget about something random like a round number and just look previous resistance from Friday support from Friday, resistance today on the SPY. That said, when we got to this point, this is like the reason I'm out of Uber. So my reaction to that level was, okay, we're getting up to that top. If Uber checks up, Uber's been a fantastic long. The only mistake made was one early long in here. The rest has been pretty good. Remember that 62.5 zone that we liked? Long that twice, long the breakout. Again, if you like somebody just dropped something in the back there. Hopefully they're okay. You saw us both turn our heads. That was legit.
We're just like, what was that?
Hope all is well in the back there. No, but if you like a stock, then be willing to try to get into it as many times as you can where it sets up. If it sets up dip buy in front of 60, if it sets up 62.5, it's set up the high of the day break consolidation. But then we got to the futures that support turning into resistance. And I'm thinking, yeah, this is exactly where I'm expecting the market to curl. Going to look for some shorts. Got out of Uber, got out of Nvidia, and this is still climbing. So if we fail to break out this high and turn, I got eyeballs on this huge resistance just above the 65 for a potential fail break 65 on Uber. And the other thing I'm going to be looking at for some shorts, which we're already in, if the market does decide to not break out that level, is going to be continuously Intel, which went green for a hot minute, even got me in and out, but if I get wicked out on Intel and it sets right back, I'm just going to short it again. So back into VWAP. Again, if we do not break that Friday support on the SPY, I'm looking to short the weak stocks that I like. Or something that's at a huge resistance level like in Uber, and just looking for some other names that might fall into play in that regard.
I know the Spider, we were talking about it pushing prior day's highs earlier on in the morning session there. We've pretty much held and pushed even higher there. So a little bit of a gap fill, whether you want to take it from prior day low or prior day close there, incoming with that 530 area, that low, prior day low in and around that 528. We've been trending up. Again, we talk about Nvidia. We talk about the futures as well, both the ES and the NQ. We've only been kind of bidding up since the open. We talk about some of that volatility as well. VIX has been kind of just fading off, bleeding off, and we were getting that slow and steady uptrend on some of these tickers and ETFs as well, markets in general. That breakout of that prior day high, that was very interesting. Pulls back into 522s, pre-market kind of levels as well, and then bids right back up. Take a look at how it held, hovered above VWAP right there on that clean little flush and pop right back up.
Yeah, both the boys in this one right now. Intel down about 1/3%. We saw Adair and I look at this one during the midday show as well. There's no real new catalyst on this one. We are still, reeling from the effects of the earnings report last week. Essentially, they're looking about cutting about $10 billion worth of cost-cutting measures. That might translate to about 15% of their workforce, sadly, that they may have to lay off. They're also suspending, not removing, suspending only the dividends as they get back. Try to build out the foundries. A lot of CapEx right now, guys. Both of you guys in Intel, what's the look?
The approach is it's a short till it's not. Then what that basically means is anytime you have a chart that looks like this, here's a better example for Intel. Let me zoom it out a little bit further so you can see what happened when it lost this shelf here. So when it loses the $40 shelf, it's a short till it's not. And the first place where I would kind of say it's maybe not was when it came down into that 30s, checked up here, tried to break it out. It's kind of a support level, and then earnings flush. It then made a long bottom. This is the only time, and this is a trend from whatever. It set up a trend line. I can zoom out. It doesn't really matter. It then set up a nice trend channel where you had a consolidation. It was still, generally speaking, short the pops, but it broke out the trend, and this is when it became a potential long into resistance. That was a good trade to have it when it broke out here, this tight channel, into the earnings resistance. It's about like 31 into 35. It gave you like a 10% move. Yeah, all well, fun and good. I think one time we were doing our trade of the week, so I was like, yeah, that's a good one. Nice little trade. But once it took out that floor again, short till it ain't, and it still has yet to make a bottom and break out the top. Yesterday's high, let me go to a 3-minute for you guys here. Let's go back to the 3, just to give you an idea. I did swing, and I didn't swing. I actually just missed. We're trading a bunch of long ideas, dip buying at the open, which worked out. But yesterday's high of about $20.39, once, twice, thrice, 4 times, maybe 5 times you could have had it, failed to break out at the open. Where is the lower high? At VWAP, the lower high, yesterday's top. That is the easiest miss for me shorting something today. Was it failed to break at the top. The lower high was the exact same level it sold 5 times that you could get in. And I had it I think 3 times at least, maybe 4 yesterday at that same level. Didn't get it till we popped down to around 2015. Shorted that, shorted the 20 level. Did hold on to a piece for this potential triple bottom break. Ended up stopping that out in front of VWAP. When it got back to the opening range bottom where we had that curl, shorted it again. We're still sitting in that, willing to short it underneath VWAP and a 20 break into the low of the day if that's what's going to happen. It's just a weak stock, so when you get a good level, it's running down right now. And until that stops happening, I think you had a first shot of maybe this being the case here, and if it holds a 20 level, opens up above that 2040 or so, this could get a little bit bullish, maybe it breaks out at the top tomorrow, but until then, I want to short under VWAP on Intel. And one more for you, because I want to briefly mention AMD here, only because we're talking about the chips. So AMD was cruising like a lot of things, and then this just happened. It just lost 33, it double topped 134, and suddenly it doesn't look as strong as it did before. I had a couple of shots at this at VWAP that didn't quite work out. The only cautionary tale for the short is what this looks like on the 15-minute. So what it looks like on the 15-minute is a bit of a lit grab, and if it actually bounces right back above 132, it could start to look a little bit strong. That said, it's relatively weak today. Yesterday, relatively strong. Today, feeling relatively weak. Until it breaks VWAP, I want to look for a curl here. The market's at the highs. This is trying to break back above VWAP. That makes it a relatively weak stock to me.
Yeah, no, I like that short idea on Intel as well. I was a little late to the party, but yeah, the idea is that we're selling off of earnings. Not only that, we've been selling off on this name for quite a few weeks there. Look at that, just in middle of July, we made highs at 37s. We attempt to push, and I remember correctly, this was around the time that everyone was like, "Oh, Intel might be the best poised in terms of foundries when it comes to the whole U.S.-China debacle on that issue." You can see the relative volume, and we attempted to push, but then we've only been sold off since, and then sell off even more aggressively off of earnings. So yeah, it's just a bit of a bigger picture trend, and then you're taking the intraday trend, kind of confluencing with that bigger picture trend as well. You wick the pre-market highs right there, and then fail. Look at that double bottom opening range low. This is the 15-minute chart, confluencing with pre-market lows at that 2018. And what did we do here? A little late to the party. 2018's all the way up here. I punch. What is this? At 2005s, get more into or past 20 when the 20 is not really going. Don't really cover too much here, but then when it comes, rips right back up where we saw the market pull back in through that VWAP, through that 2020, and take a look at that. That same area from that pre-market, 2020's area, is where we kind of turn for a reversion back into VWAP. Now we're holding that 20 from the other side. So it should be interesting here on Intel. Unfortunately, I didn't take enough off when it did clip this just below this 19.8s, 19.7s right here. And it was holding a little bit of a base. Now we're holding VWAP as of right now above 20. So it should be interesting going forward. Market's bidding up, so I do want to keep be wary of that. SMH should be on watch as well if when I'm trading this ticker.
Apple still down about 0.5%. It's been zigging and zagging through that 209. I think the break-even level for it is 209 and a fifth. I'll let the big kahunas look at that. Yeah, obviously still recovering, reeling more like it from the Warren Buffett announcement on Saturday that Berkshire Hathaway did cut its Apple stake to about half. Still holding the largest position in their portfolio was still Apple. Mostly cash though, about $277 billion, in cash. That's a record for Berkshire Hathaway. Also, Morgan Stanley chiming in today on Apple, maintaining their overweight rating, and upping the price target to 273, basically citing the AI upcoming, possibly AI super cycle that's being priced into the market right now. Guys, down 0.5%. What's the look on Apple?
Now, but that doesn't mean it's down for the count. It ain't over. The day is young. Okay, it's 220 already, but the market's, the ES is testing that high as we speak. Apple conveniently has a 210 top or 209.98 or something ridiculously adjacent to it. It's pretty obvious. You look at the last couple of days, okay, you had support from back here that was like June, and you're pulling back into it and trying to break back out the top end. So from there, just put that, there you go. Put that back in, and from there to this potential break at 210, there is a bit of a pivot zone that was set up better than I wish I had seen this better, as I was looking for maybe a VWAP retrace, which happened before on Apple. But this breakout right here at 207.75 ends up being a support level. So 207.75, somewhere just around the 208 level looks like a dip buy, and 210 looks like a breakout to me on Apple. It's a green to red story, or red to green story if it does happen. And while that was going on, there was this wick here in AMD on volume, went for the short underneath VWAP, it gave the consolidation, pulled back a bit, jumped into it, it took out VWAP, I get out. Simple as that. No fighting, not gonna average into this one. It was an under VWAP play, but I wanna get some Apple before it gets to 210. That's going to be the story. Like going into that 210 level, did we come all this way not to get there? I'm inclined to think no. So if we don't get 208 or something along those lines, if it does a little checkup like this, next available dip, I'm looking for the rip into 210.
Yeah, that Apple again, a lot of bouncing happening here. We talk about that potential 200 coming in, never comes in, bounces off of day lows, 201.08, so just about a point away from that 200 that we saw that strong action come in right off of the open yesterday. But yeah, we're basically trading within yesterday's range. A bit of an inside day here happening on Apple. Again, I'm curious to know how this week will pan out after we did get this gap down, and then some of these large caps are just holding. Sure, we've had some strong moves. We're holding within the range of that prior day action there on Apple. So 210s potentially incoming. This market is strong to the upside. 18.4 holding as of right now, and the ES as well pushing for some fresh highs.
Oh boy, Obi. There is a lot running. You're 100% right about that. The other thing that is running is Nvidia. I'm going to get to this broad stream. I'm going to get there in just a quick second because we mentioned Apple, but Nvidia just ran the top, made a fresh high, and is starting to pull back in. So the question becomes, where is the next available dip here? There's no obvious trend line. It's already broken one and broken another, but it's still heading to the upside. So Apple is sort of giving you that 208, or the next available dip could be 09s. Nvidia might be just a top consolidation here as well. But here's the question. First of all, thank you to Broad Street Wolf, member for 45 months. So you're coming up on 4 years with us, which is amazing. Want to know why that's amazing? Because we've only been around since it was January of 2020 right at the start of COVID, at least for us. I mean, COVID was in China before that, but for us, it was just January of 2020. So you've been around almost since the beginning there, Broadsky. Thank you very much for joining the best trading community out there and sticking with us. How do you feel about the war in the Middle East? Do you think it will affect the overall markets if there is an attack on Israel? Well, as it's been ongoing, I feel like, and it's a horrible thing to say, but the markets have not, in a general sense, especially talking about tech like we always talk about, they haven't cared too much. Oil markets care. I'll tell you where it matters. It matters when when we're all looking at something like LMT, right? Like this is where, when this chart loads up, this is where it matters. So what do I think? It's a horrible thing to want to profit from destruction or anything bad in the world, but this is where I think your opportunity would be. It just made a topping tail candle to end all topping tail candles and is still consolidating, no big drop back. If there is further escalation, you got to think about energy names and things like LMT, maybe like a Boeing can give you something, a Raytheon, like those are the names you want to be involved in. If there's more tensions, if there's tensions with Taiwan and China, that's a different story for the tech names that we're going to be looking at, I think. So that's what we try to narrow down to. Like what's moving, most of what we trade is going to end up in tech. That's just kind of how it is, everybody. And Hey Davis just said, my Apple chart shows a big gap that my charts don't have. Really? I don't know, and I don't know why I just pull up Apple in New Zealand. It doesn't trade there. Not this chart. You're talking about the daily maybe?
Yeah,
or
daily gap down yesterday.
Oh, you're probably looking at the trade ideas chart. No, this is the chart I was showing. No, the daily chart here, this is a gap down. Now, obviously, if I was looking like a continuous chart, which has the overnight, and it was like a 60-minute, you probably have something filling in some of that. But this is just a daily chart, and I'd have to check to see exactly when they start data on trade ideas. But yeah, that on a daily, those gaps are real. That could be the difference there for you. Hey, Davis in the chat, if you got questions, you guys can let us know. If there's anything you're tracking, I'm still looking for the first available pullback in Apple. There hasn't been a red candle in 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, the market is super strong to the upside pretty much all day. So yeah, some of these tickers definitely trending well on the day. But yeah, no, let us know what you guys have been trading in the chat. I don't really have too much on watch. I know that Disney had some interesting news. As well in the, well, not in the morning, during the midday, right? It came out.
Yeah, the increased streaming prices, yeah.
Yeah, increased streaming prices. But talking about trending tickers, take a look at SMH, take a look at TSM, take a look at Nvidia, take a look at Tesla as well. After about 11:30, SMCI off of the opening range lows, SOC sell as well. So almost anything and everything has pretty much held their opening range lows, broken above, and pushing into some of these some fresh highs there. Now again, sentiment very much reflected here on the futures as they are also attempting to push some fresh highs. They have been pushing some fresh highs as of right now in this very 15-minute candle, which has about a minute and 50 seconds left to print. So yeah, a lot of strong trends there. On the day, Spider as well, Apple off of the lows. A lot of these tickers looking very similar here. Amazon, wow, 158.50s holds, and we're trading 164.62s. Some of that pre-market 4 a.m. wick high is sitting at 64.88s, and we're only about 20 pennies away from there on the Amazon. So interesting stuff here. Definitely did not partake in any of those trend trades on the day, but have you guys? I'm curious to know. Spy, Crowd, Tesla, and Uber, says Lewis C.
Apparently, Donald Trump is going to be doing an Elon Musk interview on Truth Social. That just hit the Benzinga Newswire, or at least I heard it in my ear. So Trump, I think I heard Monday, is going to be doing an interview with Elon Musk on Truth Social. I just saw there was a bit of a volume spike. It broke out a local high as I'm hearing the story. I just punched in because it's DJT. And when DJT wants to go and I hear news about it, it is what it is. But it's already starting to crest at 27.40, which is this level. Triple top at 27.40. Just because I heard it in my ear, I was able to catch this break when it broke through the 20 level. And again, this is why you want to have it in your ear. Shout out to Benzinga Pro. This isn't even meant to be like an ad read or anything like that. It's just, I heard it in my ear, DJT started going, there was a volume spike, I could see the tape going, and it was at 27.15 still, and it had only gone 10, 15 pennies. I'm like, okay, you're gonna give me 23s on that break, and I'm risking back into 08s? I'm risking 15 pennies on that punch, and first resistance is at 40? Okay, that's like 1-to-1 on news for a stock that wants to scream. So now we'll just see if it can run to the 28 level. Gets to 28, great. If it gets back under VWAP, I'm just gonna get out. So my stop is gonna move now from underneath. Actually, I don't even have to move it. I can just still give it to 08. I might tighten it up later, but for now, I'm just gonna still give it to 08. See how far this bad boy wants to run. I'm not trying to make any, hey, Truth Social is gonna be fantastic. I don't know. Probably not even worth anything in a real sense, but who cares? There it goes. If it can hold on to VWAP, there might be a reload. Until then, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Wow, and Nvidia might be curling a little bit here, and I didn't get an add into Intel. Here, let me finish this Intel thought, because I should have, and that's a mistake. So opportunity cost. So I wanted to short Intel on a pop as the market was at the highs. Heard the news on DJT, swung over to make a trade, and we didn't get short Intel off this lower high here. The lower high is 2017. I'm sure you saw that same thing, Obi. That was probably a really good fill up here. Maybe 15s we can get. I'm just gonna sit on the offer at 15. See if we get swept up.
Yeah, no, that I feel like I had we were talking about like making decisions and stuff. I feel like I had the right decision over here when it kind of popped. Very strong bid off of this 19.8. You could kind of see, you could kind of almost see it coming, and then the bid kind of firms up and rips all the way right back up into 2020s. There, we talk about that being a little bit of a pre-market level as well. And then take a look at that nice little pullback off of there. Now we're just coasting, consolidating on top of VWAP here. Definitely do not have enough. It did not have enough on this ticker to start off with, but that price comes right back in as and then rejects. So this was definitely a good place, in my opinion, to kind of reload, and I did not take enough. So that's kind of the mistake I have on this trade as of right now, not having the appropriate size for said move. So it should be interesting. Let's see what we do with that 20 mark. As of right now, we're holding that those 20s. And holding VWAP as well. Take a look at that wick action. We attempt to come in, break below VWAP, holds the 20s, and then now just chop on top of VWAP on the Intel. DJT coming right back in, Neil.
That's what it does, man.
Yeah, that is exactly what it does.
You've got, and this is the reason why I showed you, I showed you guys the chart. First resistance takes them out, and then second resistance up here, where it got to, this is the open. So right at the open, 27.60. So look at the two places. And I'm trying to remember I don't remember necessarily the trader, and I should, the trader that used to say this to me. Make decisions at decision-making points. If a stock is going, let it go to where it wants to go to. Now, it's obviously different when it's in a range like this in the middle of the day, where you're probably gonna scalp and get multiple entries and exits. But on news, where this is a single candle, there's no reason to cover here and here. And once it breaks 40, there is no reason to do anything but wait for it to get to 27.60 or so. That's what we waited around for. If it holds VWAP, it holds VWAP at this point. I'm trying to get that Intel fill. Eyeballs over here on Nvidia, which is still absolutely cresting at this top. But what I meant by Nvidia, ran the high and pulled back in. I think it might have trapped some shorts in here because that just broke 107. So wick the top, broke 107, and is now going higher. I think some people might have been looking reversion and would be short underneath that 107 break. So if it dips and holds sevens, that could be a nice little scalp trade to that local bottom. Yeah, the markets are pushing some fresh highs. So yeah, I've been kind of a little stubborn here on this
on this PayPal, attempting to revert it over and over again. Look at all those entries right there. Definitely sprayed this one, gratatatad, all the way from 62.80s to 63s there. Some of them, well, a lot of these on what I thought was the right side. And then, but here's the thing: when that kind of re-breaks and pushes that 63, I do have to kind of reassess. And we're kind of holding. Neil, we're talking to Neil about this, and he was like, "Yeah, if we're kind of holding the upper end of this price action from the morning and holding above VWAP and holding moving averages, that is very bullish there." And yeah, definitely he was correct on that one. And we are continuing to push higher and higher as the market, I guess, trickles up even more. 63.50s coming into play here. I have a little bit of a level at 63.60s, but again, about 15 pennies away. With only about an hour and a half left, I don't know if I don't necessarily know if it's the best idea to try and revert this ticker after it's been so strong, throughout the day, and again, confluence with very strong market as well. So, you know, it is what it is. I was definitely wrong on this. I was a little stubborn, not really trading with the trend. Once again, mistake of mine. But
well, it's hard. It's if you have a reversion setup.
Exactly, I have a reversion
it's hard
setup,
to
I'm not following rules.
Yeah, if you're making a reversion trade, you are going to almost always be against it. That's just how it works. Like if you were just like, I'm shorting every single pop in DJT, and I'm going to short it into a resistance level. Oh, that news, I don't think it's big enough. And there's no possible way you're taking that short again. Like you're getting it against the trend. It would have worked, and it pulls right into VWAP. You could have the breakout. You could have had the pullback into VWAP. And so if it breaks VWAP, I'm out of that trade. But to me, I was in PayPal as well. Just one more thing. I didn't show this chart on DJT, so complete apologies. Usually I'll show you if there's more than one reason for something. I like to show all of the reasons. And that high, you have the same wick top going back to Monday as well. It's just a general top. If it takes out 28, it's breaking a couple of levels and looking to fill a little bit of a gap there on DJT. So I kind of meant to show you guys that and didn't. But to that point on PayPal, like I was short PayPal too off this trend line. But once it's held for a certain amount of time, which was right just before 1 o'clock, maybe like 12:30 or so, it's like, yeah, forget about it. If it's going to break that trend, it's going to snap back if it's a parabolic move up. And if it takes that long, I was taking profit all the way. I just got out of Dodge. It just at some point, that trade isn't there. And not much you can do about it. Okay, Apple, 210. Here we go. Apple is at $209.80. I really wanted dip buy on this over punch the top at 240. This was your one chance to get the dip buy. If I take this break, I'm getting out very quickly if it doesn't work. Apple has a strong history of the first time it goes to an obvious level, breaking out in the afternoon, being bamboozlement, and then you wish you did the dip buy. So I'm going to go with that approach. I'll probably risk 10 cents or so just on the chance that it goes right away. But I'm really thinking the dip buy is the better play here on Apple, just because that's what history has always taught me with afternoon breaks on this particular stock. Still looking pretty good here. Strong name, and I did not get that. Like Intel's not really giving me. See, this is what's happening. I'm looking over. I have it up on the level 2, and I'm offering right in here, trying to get picked up. And look what's happening. It's getting right to 14, and I'm sitting 15 and 16, and which is pointless. And then I'm just not getting any fills. So it feels like a trap to now sit on 14. But what did they say? Spring the trap.
Spring the trap.
Yeah, that's literally from Star Wars. And, well, it's from The Phantom Menace. Obi-Wan says it.
Ah, yes.
Spring the trap. Actually, it's not Phantom Menace. I think it was Attack of the Clones. It doesn't really matter. Underrated movies. The funny thing about it, and my thing with Disney, like it only took 3 really, really bad movies for us to realize that like episodes 1, 2, and 3 weren't all that bad, were they? Hey, they weren't so bad now, huh? All those people talking. I was one of those that was like, yeah, these weren't that bad. I enjoy Star Wars. And all of a sudden, everybody's coming around now that episodes 7, 8, and 9 stunk. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so we'll try to get this fill at 14, which probably means it's not going to fill 14s anymore now that we're sitting here.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, that hold on top of VWAP as the market kind of pushes even higher. We're talking about these markets making fresh highs. we continue to make fresh highs on this 15-minute candle, and we just, I guess, hold on one second. We got 5 minutes and 40 seconds left for that to print, and we are pushing those prior highs there from the pre-market session. Where was that? I guess we've been kind of chopping around, holding between some of those pre-market highs and that 18.4 as well, and now we're pushing, attempting for that 18.5 as of right now. Buy the dip, they told me, Neil, and the dip has apparently been bought from yesterday. So,
did you buy anything yesterday?
No, I didn't. I did not go shopping. I feel like I don't know. I was like, okay, maybe better prices, but I guess maybe not just not yet. I don't know. Maybe that could have been it. I have no idea.
Look, there's always going to be another dip. Come on, this is the markets. There's always an opportunity if your time horizon is ever. You're young. There's always fantastic dips. But the thing is, if you like certain stocks and you sold anything on the way up, and you're like, I need to get back into this because I want to go back in for the long term. We pull back 20% or 30% or whatever the stock you're looking at happens to be. On a day like yesterday, like if you're not buying that, like what the heck are you waiting for? I don't know what else you're looking for there. No, granted, no, I didn't put any orders in yesterday. I said this morning, I got filled on Meta and Microsoft because I had bids already there on those two stocks for dip buys. Speaking of dip buys, Nvidia just pulled back into 107. Let's see if it can hold on to this 107 level. It does have I don't know, let's call it a triple top, but I mean, how many times has it wicked up to the $0.50 that I want to respect that? If it gets back up to the $0.50, we definitely want to be scalping. I want to be scalping some out in front of that level. Keeping eyes on Apple, which did not break 210. It got really close. Now it's pulling back. So I think you got to watch out, because if we lose the top on the ES, lose the top on Apple at the same time, as you're going to see me like talk myself into punching out close to flat on Nvidia. That's not the right timing here. And I could be wrong about that, but that doesn't feel like the right timing. Into the down move, just as Apple's rejecting the high, and both the ES and the Nasdaq are trying to press the highs, Nvidia's pulling back in. I think I'll need to be a little bit more patient with that fill. My gut is telling me I should have been looking for my short entries and look for a deeper dip in Nvidia. Like the dip down here gives you much more reward, maybe traps for people. Now there's a seller at 117.14 dumping 25,000 shares. So right or wrong, somebody else wanted to sell down there. We'll see what happens there. Yeah, that sucks. Tony Price couldn't buy much of a dip yesterday thanks to Schwab. That's a bad beat, man. And I feel super frustrated for anybody. The way I felt yesterday in the morning when I saw a bunch of people like that can't execute trades. Danielle Shea was mentioning that they were, anybody was having issues if you're with Schwab. That's frustrating on a day like yesterday where things are moving. And I felt exactly the way I felt yesterday as with that day that Funware, people couldn't get out of their trades when DWAC was going nuts and Funware halted for an hour and people got rinsed on Funware when they should have had huge wins and the stock just didn't open in 10 minutes. They held it for no reason and no idea why. And there's nothing you can do about it. You're powerless in that moment. Hopefully you're able to catch some winners after the fact. But those are the markets. You know what? My moms used to always say, don't worry about the things that you can't control because you're not in control, so there's no point worrying about it. And don't worry about the things that you can control because you're in control, so what is there to worry about? My mom's was all about no worries.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. Like, why stress about
there? Straight up wisdom.
My mom's is smart. So
moms tend to be usually smart.
Can't make this up. I didn't know I was going to be a trader. My mom, when she came to this country, she worked with my aunt and then a couple of other friends from the West Indies, and she was a teller at a bank. And then one day, I don't know what happened to they hit someone that would do currency trades for them. Whether the person just got up and left, but for whatever reason, they're like, we need somebody to do currency trading. And she's like, I'll do it. And then out of nowhere, no experience whatsoever, learn on the fly, just take a shot at it. That's how she rolled. And she did the same thing. She became a mortgage broker. Then she did real estate for years. So she had flexible hours for us, which is fantastic. And then after that, she decided she wanted to go back to school and help with special needs kids teaching. That's how my mom rolled. Hero. And all that, she's the risk side of it. That's where I get risk from. My dad's the complete opposite. And maybe I should have channeled that risk and not jiggled myself out of Nvidia, because it ends up holding. At the time, it didn't feel like I wanted that dip buy when Apple was rejecting, but it is holding. So we lose a couple of cents there, and maybe we should have stuck with that one. But I didn't like what I saw over there on that Apple drop off of 210, and that made me not love buying these highs. Sometimes you just feel better when things are breaking out above or giving you the deeper pullback to get a better price in. So we're still sticking with DJT because that's looking okay. That just bounced out in here. I'm actually going to offer in front of, no, that's silly. I was going to offer in front of 28, but that just bounced off of in front of VWAP, putting in a bit of a higher low. Could always stabilize for a re-entry. Thank you very much, Ron Swanson. My mom is a legend. In my books, 100%. My brother's books for sure. And my dad's book. I mean, obviously everyone in my family thinks she's an absolute legend. But and the greatest thing about it is, despite all of that, I'm like, yeah, so do you enjoy the show? She's like, it's okay, guys. No, she keeps it very much real. Like, she's so chill. She's like, it's a little bit too fast paced for me. I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered. I love watching you on there, but I can't follow it minute to minute, which is great. She's very honest about it. She's like so thrilled for myself and Sean, because she's known Sean as well since high school, because we've known each other. I'd just like to share some fun stories for you guys, and I'd like to share that Intel is a punk. No matter where you offer, you can't get shares. Offer here, it stops a cent above. Offer where it's filling, can't get filled, right at 14. I'm completely convinced I'm probably just going to have to take a short as it's breaking down through VWAP or something different. I don't know. But whatever it is, I cannot get filled on the offer of Intel. Wherever I offer, it goes to the price and doesn't fill, which means I got to hit the bid somewhere and adjust the plan of action.
SSR, no? I think so. I'm pretty sure it's SSR, because I've been getting filled on upticks.
But you can still get, I'm on the offer. Like, I'm not trying to, I haven't tried to hit the bid yet. I'm just trying to sit on the offer. It's at a key level. Like, if you look at yesterday's kind of aftermarket range even, same top, that bottom turned into that top, still kind of a weak name. It could end up being a breakout, but I got to find my way into this at some point. I just can't catch any fills. I still only have the fill from here at 19. And apparently GME's moving again. GME's moving. Okay, do you think that might be due to that little bit of a DJT pop? Let's take a quick look at what GME that could be a trap.
Is up to. No, this thing's been moving for quite a while. This thing's been kind of holding that 20-25 day low. 2150 is coming in right now. Pre-market highs pushing as well. That's looking good. What's your look on that?
You're looking at a 15-minute, right?
I'm looking at a 15.
You see this same thing I see, 2162 or whatever the heck that is?
From Friday.
Okay, so liquidity grab bottom, lit grab, higher low. This is an inverse head and shoulders for those of you that like those chart patterns, and a breakout off of the Friday high, which is $21.62. So very promptly. I don't know why GameStop was moving originally off of VWAP, but it doesn't have enough volume that it seems like a reason is needed here, but that 2162 does make some sense to me. I just saw in the chat, Tony Price, I can imagine Sean having cookies and milk at Neil's house back in the day. I've told these stories before. It was the complete reverse. It was burgers by Sean's pool that Sean's mom would hook up. So that was sort of like Sean, he lived really close to our school. We'd be able to go there at lunchtime. They had a pool and everything. It was absolutely fantastic, but Debs was amazing. We were all afraid of George, his dad, because Italian, he had that intimidating look at it. It's like, he's probably in the mafia or something and going to kill us. No, I'm joking around. No, George was like, no, Sean's dad, you know what I'm talking about. Even though you haven't met him, I'm talking to Big Patty Ice. No, Sean's pop was dead serious all the time, and his mom's was super chill, always very cool with all the high school friends, which was amazing. And it's great to have friends like that. And what was cool about it is all of our parents, all the nonsense we would get into, we were allowed to because all of our parents respected all the other kids. Like, oh, you're out with these guys? All of our high school buddies? Yeah, they're all smart. What could go wrong? So you can do all the dumb stuff, and like your parents think that you're...
Yeah, I was just out with so-and-so, and they're like, yeah, okay, cool, they're safe, they're doing whatever.
Okay, Apple's up there.
Yeah, no, I've gone through that, a little bit of that as well. But yeah, no, kind of still pushing. We're holding very near and dear to that trend that we've been having all day here on both futures. So Man, I keep on saying you gotta take a look at the VIX, and the VIX continues to kind of bleed down in. We were talking about that 23, what was that, 2360, 2340 area. We're at 24s, Neil, 2410s on the VIX as of right now. PayPal still trending up. What is this one? Okay, that's VXX. Yeah,
I do have a question
nice
for you about
what's going
PayPal.
on?
Would you reverse that into a breakout long, given how strong everything is?
I mean, seeing as how I could have potentially done that multiple times over and chose not to, I think you are correct. I think that, I mean, it's trending to the upside. It's pretty strong. It's market confluence. It has a catalyst on the day as well, trading above VWAP, holding moving averages. And clearly, the counter trend is not working.
Who's that guy that didn't hold on to the Nvidia long? Oh, yeah, that was me. Right back to the high of the day again. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here staring again at Apple that won't break 210. That's how these things work. If you shorted Apple in front of 210, this is now the second time that you would probably have an easy scalp trade. I can't tell you how much this happens when you're looking at a key level for a potential breakout, where you could just make the decision to be on the other side of the trade. Obviously, there's sellers at 210, and you could be taking advantage of that with tight risk. That said, I still have the stop order to go long, so until that is no longer the case, we're going to stick with it. Daniel, am I interested in the Amazon 164 short? I will cop to I have not looked at Amazon today. So this is the first peek I'm making at Amazon. And so in a general sense, the answer would be no, because I haven't looked at it. And you're saying 164 short? It's at 160. Maybe you meant 165. Yeah, 165 you meant. Higher, it's a lower high on one of the strongest stocks today. Let's look at the 15-minute. It's in the middle of nowhere. Okay, it's kind of this resistance level. That's not at a level that I would like. Yeah, I'm not a huge, I wouldn't be. I'd rather short something weak and under VWAP, whether it works or not. Give me a weak stock or something that's at a bigger resistance level. That just seems like it's diddling in the middle. Let's go up to the desk, Tuadera.
This part of the show brought to you by Benzinga Pro. If you feel lost in the noise of the market, then you need Benzinga Pro. Benzinga Pro cuts through the clutter and gives you the insights you need to make smarter, faster trades. From real-time news to unusual options activity, we'll show you exactly what's moving the market and why. Don't miss out on your chance to trade like a pro. Visit benzinga.com/pro to start your free trial today.
I just moved my chart to a 1-minute chart to show you guys something. I use a 3-minute chart, a 15-minute chart, a daily chart. That's what I show you guys all the time. I'll pull up trade ideas maybe for a weekly chart or higher time frames. But this was when the news came in my ear on Benzinga. This is a 1-minute chart. It broke out, got right into this level, which was 27.27, the 1 o'clock high. Then you were able to get back into 27. This is when I got 27.23, and I'm like, really? I've just heard this news in my ear. It just popped, and you're going to give me this dip back into prior resistance and in front of VWAP. So if you heard that news live, you didn't even have to be an algo. You just had to hear it, and then you had the opportunity to get it in there, not even up here. And that's the difference. Like, seconds always going to matter in a market like this, as far as I'm concerned. You know, sometimes you're going to scalp trade like that, it's going to work out. Other times it's not, but the opportunity for a big explosive trade is going to be there in that moment if you're right there with the news. Okay, Nvidia's trying to press highs. Apple still wants that 210 level. It is absolutely flying. Robbie V wants to know about SMCI. What do I think about these levels? I think about not wanting to touch it till we get the report tonight. So stick around for the aftermarket show with myself and Adara, and it's SMCI, and sometimes I might type it incorrectly, but that's on me. It's SMCI after the bell. You do have also, we've got, I almost said PayPal because you're trading PayPal, but it's Airbnb is going to be reporting after the bell tonight. Amgen's reporting. Fortinet's going to be reporting. We'll have that. We'll have Brian Shannon on of Anchored VWAP fame. Man, did he have some calls on the SPY you guys are going to want to see. But this has been a break channel down, lose the 50, lose the 200 type of name. I would love for this to be a breakout past 650 tomorrow and regain this because I think there's so much room to the upside. But I'm not here to guess where it's going to go. We're here to react to price action on SMCI. So you just got to wait for it aftermarket, I think.
Yeah, I see in the chat, here, 2 comments. Hans Beer saying, lost in the sauce. Yes, sir. Definitely a little lost in the sauce. Yeah, I've been trading that PayPal, if you want to call this trading, Neil. But it is breaking out to the highs, 63.60s right now. And NS in the chat asking, can you guys look at Carvana? Here we can, CVNA. Let's take a look. Let's pull up this ticker right here. I was already pulled up. All right, so let's go on to a higher time frame as we're just kind of holding prior day's range as of right now. Let me take this VWAP off here. And yeah, take a look at that. We had earnings just a few days ago there. So today is what? Earnings day 4 on Carvana. And we've pretty much, we sold off, we gapped out, we did the gap down into yesterday, and now today we've attempted to reclaim some of those earnings day 2 prices coming into consolidation lows from day 1. Bigger picture, go a little bit further back. Let's take a look at the weekly here as well. Carvana, I know, has been curling and trending very, very aggressively since 2023. Around the beginning of 2023, we've been in a very, very strong uptrend. Now, again, you guys remember this ticker during COVID times here. Again, right place at the right time. A lot of different reasons for why this might have done moved the way it did. Beautiful symmetrical reversion over the course of 3 or 4 years there. Again, you read about this stuff in like textbooks, and like finally like seeing examples of symmetrical reversions on higher time frames is absolutely beautiful there. But now we sold off. We could not sell off anymore below this what is that low? 355 low. We consolidate there for many moons, many months, and then nice little curl back up a little bit of a 30% reversion of this symmetrical reversion that we've had on Carvana. So yeah, I do like this ticker. Very, very nice. But let's see if it can do this reversion twice with it trending back up. 150s kind of the highs right now. What's going on, Neil?
No, it's the many moons comment that you had me at many moons there. Like that's some crap. That's something I should say because the older people talk that way. So about that 210 that we're not shorting on Apple. It's a great level. Clearly, the play has been to short off of that level. I just canceled my breakout. There was a good question in the chat, like what was that order above? I'll show you again because someone said, what broker are you using that you can do this and have that order sitting there? So it doesn't matter. It's not going to break above anytime soon. So let me just enter the exact same order, maybe a different price, but it doesn't really make a difference. So there you go. I just changed I was doing 11s before. Essentially, this is just a stop order. And depending on real trading, there's multiple stop orders we can use, but this particular one actually shows up on the level too. I just set it so that if 210 breaks, I'm firing a limit order to 210.25. And that type of order will actually this one will show up on the book as a limit buy, but only if it breaks 210. I don't use market orders. So basically, if you break 10, I'm instantly bidding 25. And every now and then you'll see me put a stop order in of that regard. If I'm using a stop to protect, I don't always use that stop order so it doesn't show up. I'll just say where my level might be. Like on Intel here, let me just cancel that Apple order because it's far away. Like in Intel, I just reloaded it under VWAP, said if it breaks, maybe I'll have to short it on the way down, which we just did. Let's say I want to put it at 10, which I'm going to, or around that level, probably 11 or 12. Like I can put another stop order, which I'm literally doing right now, but that one doesn't show. And I'm protected 100% of my order is going to be out if it breaks above like 11. So some stop orders are going to show up, others don't. It's just a function of real trading. So Apple on that dip. Let's see where it decides to hold. This is a healthy one. This is, I guess, what we were waiting for. Down to 209 makes some sense. And here comes the market pulling back in. Did add to some Intel, but that was about it. Let's go to Adara at the desk again.
Just be aware here, we have some comments coming in about the current state of the U.S. economy, both from the White House and also from the CEO of Goldman Sachs, Solomon here, saying that, quote, the Fed will forego an emergency rate cut, and I see no U.S. recession. So Goldman Sachs CEO saying that he does not see any chance of a recession here. Meanwhile, we also have the White House saying that they've seen, quote, some volatility in the economy, but that they believe there is resilience in the economy at large and that their economic team is going to, quote, monitor the ongoing situation. So bit of a drop here in the SPY. Just be aware we do have some comments going on from Goldman Sachs and the White House, or Goldman Sachs CEO and the White House. I will let you guys know if I see anything else coming out here, guys.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, now we're dropping. So that 09 just went really quickly. I'm not going to be stubborn about that one. We're sitting there looking for the dip into 09. It bounced off 09s, gave me 15s, but this is it breaking back 09. You got to be able to get out. I don't know that news is going to hit in that moment, or I would have punched short a bunch of stuff. But now that we do know, I just got out of DJT as well. Not that it doesn't matter whether it's following the news, but DJT just went back underneath my entry, so I punched out of that one as well. Thankfully, when we just added to Intel, that was the only thing I was looking short, and then that popped down into the $20 level again. So we're already in it, and then we added at VWAP. If it breaks 20 even, I'll take some out in front of 20, and then just look to see how far it can go down. B Freeze just said in the chat, chance of recession, we are in a recession. So many would say. My attitude is it doesn't usually matter, because by the time people are willing to call it, when talking heads are willing to call something a recession officially, it's too late at that point, so who the hell cares? That's something for the history books, and then you can read about it at post facto. For the market, you just want to trade what's out in front of you, and I think the market kind of feels like we're there, I guess.
Yeah, no, we're kind of dropping in. So first kind of selling coming in on the day here. As of right now. I kind of fat-fingered a long instead of a short there real quick, so I got out, re-engaged a little bit here. But yeah, the market's kind of pulling in here. Let's see if this can finally crack some of these trends that have been holding pretty much all day on a lot of these tickers here. So Intel coming back into that 20, nice little pullback in through that 18.4 on the Nasdaq. Let's see what we have in store here. Let's see what the Spider is up to. Spider, hello. Not really too much of a pullback as of right now. Softy pulling back into its VWAP as well. Amazon holding trend. VanEck kind of breaking down.
Uber 65 break.
Low. 65 breakdown on Uber apparently. Let's kind of continue watching some of these tickers here to see if anything will come in a little bit harder. Yeah.
I've got to assume that's got to be good for PayPal, but in other strong stock news, Uber's up 11%. They had earnings, everything was good, everything was great, except for getting out of the long at 64.47. That was a mistake. But look at this. It broke out 65. Let me slide on over to the 15 minutes so you don't think we're making up these prices. So this is 65.20s, up here like 65.40s. So suffice to say, just above the 65 level, you have overhead resistance since this pullback. The 65 break, almost meaningless here, but a rejection up top and a lower high with the market turning signals a bit of a short for me in Uber. Needed to let it press above 65, zoom out to that 15 minutes, see where that resistance is, and I want to be short this. And I think reasonably speaking, like VWAP's at $63, which is $2 lower. So if you're not willing to risk it to the high of the day, then there's almost no point. It's about 25 to 30 cents, depending on entry point, to that high of the day. So if it breaks the high out, set a stop and forget about it on Uber. Forget about it.
Forget about it. That 20 coming in, no real size on that 20 as of right now on Intel, but the markets are definitely dropping. Look at the Spider, man. Spider at 526s. Breaking some of those prior day consolidations, prior highs here at that, what is that, 526s as well. So potentially coming in, a little bit of a market catalyst potentially. We've been bidding up all day. Let's see if we kind of push into a sell here. Let me put my eyes on the VIX here as well. The VIX, nice little pop on the VIX, strength coming right back in. So reverting the reversion on the VIX as of right now, trading, or it's at 25 or 27, Neil. So the VIX getting a little bit of a pop. PayPal pulling in, Intel pulling in, ES and NQ pulling in. I'm sure a lot of tickers are pulling in quite aggressively. So if you guys in the chat, let us know what you are trading in this market. Quadunk here. Quadunk. 18.3 incoming as well. Let's go.
It is getting a little bit randy to the downside here is Nvidia. Look at the turn on Nvidia. This is absolutely accelerating. Any chip name that hasn't gone has got to be in play. Okay, that's MU is already gone. Look at these charts here. Micron, nasty retracement. All right, we've fallen into VWAP. This might be a bit of a different story here. Chasing this doesn't make a lot of sense. Nvidia's at support.
Oh boy. Markets are coming in.
Yeah, if
people are wiping the bid right now.
No, this is a good level here on Nvidia. It is what it is. This was at morning high 106. If you're not gonna, the way I see it, 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 times this was significant. If I don't have a good short level and I can try a scalp long, then that's what we're gonna work with. Like 15 minutes ago, you could have told me I was gonna get a shot to try a 106 bounce with 25 cents worth of risk with $2 potential upside. I'm just gonna take that shot. I just guided to Uber and have added to Intel, but I want to try this if we can get any kind of a bounce off this level. I need it holding above 106 though. The buyers were there. When they left, I left. If they don't come back, I'm not coming back either, right? Like we already know what we like for the south side, and Intel just made another leg down. I thought I was bidding at the next 10 pennies down. I was not. Let's get the 91s. Like Intel was just a reload at 2005. And it's already trying to push a point to the downside here. So ring the registers on the way to the downside. The ES just got back to 53. The Nasdaq still pointing some higher lows. Big Kyle Burdett saying get down, come on and get down with the get down as we are headed to the downside. Appreciate the super chat there. Mr. Swearington as well saying down as well. So good luck to everybody. The bears are coming right back into these markets.
Oh boy, here we go. That's selling, finally coming in. Talk about a reversion, man. Oh boy, got a little aggressive on the PayPal there for now as it continues to break down. But take a look at Intel, man. Intel could be really smashing into that one there. A lot of bids getting taken out. A lot of these, like, look at that. Consolidation lows right here, 62.90s, and we just keep wiping those bids. Talk about slapping that bid back and forth right here. Let's see if some of this structure comes back in. It is not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. But you know what? Okay. Same kind of price action to the downside, though.
You know what we all wanted to hear, but you can't say slap the ass when the market's going down.
No.
You can't.
Gotta slap that bid.
Well,
get aggressive.
The market's
maybe
trying
even
to bounce.
Oversize a little bit.
Yeah, the market is trying to bounce. Now there's real buyers out in front of the 106 on Nvidia. On the way down, maybe not so much, but on the way back up, they just stepped back in. Let's see how well they can do on a retest of this 06 on NVDA. Okay, Intel is still holding that one. The 1990 on Intel. Okay, it just broke now. So Intel just broke the 1990 level. That's still headed down. So I was about to say there was a refresher, but I think they just chewed through that on INTC. See if these 106s can hold. The market's still heading, I think, into the downside here. I don't want to add to Uber, and I wanted a different chip name other than Nvidia. But heck, if Nvidia loses this, it just tried 106 twice and couldn't go. If it loses it for good, VWAP's $1 away here. I would have preferred maybe AMD, but that's not setting up. Micron was bouncing off VWAP as well. The thing with a gap happens to be Nvidia, unfortunately. Now Uber is starting to break to the downside. Finally, I got to imagine just about everything is rolling over when we got those comments from the Goldman CEO. Wow, I just tried to punch that break on, you guys just saw that. I just tried to punch the breakdown on Nvidia, floated down to the 60s when I was trying to pick up 80s.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just like staring this tape down. I'm kind of mesmerized by this tape. It's absolutely beautiful. I should be very, very, I guess a lot more leverage right now is how I feel because the market is reverting and a lot of these other tickers are reverting as well. That is the close-up, but I got the close-up here on the tape. 62.70s coming in. Some of those prior structures breaking down. Can we get to VWAP here on the PayPal? I have no idea. This is probably not the best instrument to take this move, but the spider continues to flush a little bit right now. Maybe potentially catching a little bit of a bounce on that 18.3. 18.3 is a bit of a pit stop on the DAC and 5,300 as well. But the thing is, we've been long long and strong pretty much all day. Well, I haven't. I've been trying to push shorts, but Kyle Burdett's saying, Obi, don't worry, I got enough leverage on for the both of us, baby. You got to teach me a thing or two, man. Because when some of those moves come in, again, it's not every day you kind of see something like that. Okay, well, a little bit of a bid picking right back up as of right now, so got to keep a close eye on this tape. 6280s. I only have what I'm looking at on watch, which is PayPal, but I'm sure there are better instruments. You can take a look at the VIX. You can take a look at Nvidia, Microsoft, a lot of the large caps as well. We are consolidating a little bit after that dump just came in. Oh boy. Can we hold? Can we trade a little bit lower here? I have no idea. But you know what? Maybe that's all she wrote right here. 6280s as of right now holding, just hovering above that VWAP. So you know what? Oh, okay. All right, cool. A little bit of a lag there. A little bit of a lag happened there on that move. And we were taking a little bit of a bid. I got 89s filled there. I did get... I kind of pieced into the move right here. I'm talking about PayPal. And then right here, this is where I got really aggressive with that coming in. I kind of messed up. I punched long instead of a short because my default was already set at a long to cover the short that I was in before. Gotcha. And I saw the action come in and I'm like, oh, I need to take a short on this. I hit the enter and it pushes me long and I'm confused for a second because I see my blood. I'm like, I shouldn't be long right now. And I took an unnecessary 10-penny loss on that. But definitely leveraged a little bit more aggressive there. But this is the thing I got to work on. It's got to be a lot more aggressive when that market move comes in. We're catching a bit of a bid right now. Woosah. What's up, Adara?
This part of the show brought to you by Stonks.com. Want a chance to win $1,000 every day? Stonks.com is giving out $1,000 daily. And entering is super easy. Predict the stock price after the earnings report. Today, we're looking at Airbnb. All it takes is 30 seconds to join. Just go to stonks.com, sign up, and hit the Make Prediction button and potentially win $1,000. It's that simple. Each day, you get one free ticket to predict. Want more chances? Share your referral link and get 5 extra tickets for each sign up. Go to stonks.com. Don't miss out, and good luck. Also here, just a quick news throw, a bit of a volume pop in JBlue, relatively speaking here. We have JetBlue, JBLU, reportedly here considering a $2.75 billion debt deal here backed by its loyalty program. It's also apparently working with Barclays and Goldman Sachs on the financials. The deal was basically be combining bonds and leverage loans to refinance its existing debt. So some debt talks here for JBLU, bringing this a little bit to the upside. We're also getting some more comments from Boeing coming in with regards to that NSTB meeting. So I'm going to have to look into that for you guys.
Oh, say it ain't so, Boeing. So Aftermarket, it's Airbnb with Stonks.com. I'm gonna get to my predictions. I'm gonna do it live for you guys, but I want to give myself a little bit more time. We're into Power Hour because Boeing's not really moving. I think that's a nothing burger. I just want to make sure if I see news on Boeing, sometimes it's really bad and we get a chance to jump in. But rip it and rip it. One short on Uber today, the rest of them all long, so just took out the high. I'm getting the heck out of Dodge. If you're going to be strong into this, when we had that pullback, forget about it. It did run in the money like a little bit, but as I said, just a little bit. Intel, this is probably a short to pop on the way back up and go for the continuation here. So whether we get to VWAP, I don't know, but there's the $20 level as well. The $20 support, potential resistance. If we get that opportunity, we're going to go for it. There. So, Oscarito, we can't say that in the chat. Man, you know that's going to get blocked. But looking for the pop and fade here on Intel back into VWAP 2005. But there's only 45 minutes left in the session, 35 until we get to those imbalances. The early looks will be out in 15, and then we'll see where we go from there. I did want to double check on DJT. I love the chat. You guys are cracking me up in real time. DJT still holding under VWAP. Ended up taking that 27 out, but it's still holding. The news round trip, most of the good move was going to be right on that news. Then you have to get the you-know-what out of Dodge. We'll see what happens. I'm not looking to short this. It doesn't seem like a reentry. Oh, and obviously there's no breakout to be had on GameStop anymore. GameStop was setting up for a double top if you go to the 15-minute. Unfortunately, that market reversal did happen, so no breakout over there on GameStop. Let's go back to Adara.
Just be aware here of Boeing. As I said, I was seeing some comments coming in with regards to the National Traffic Safety Board notes coming out on that Boeing investigation. This basically we had these notes come out earlier today, and the solution ended up being, as relieved in this, that Boeing is working on design changes to its door plug to ensure it cannot be closed until it's fully secured. As we know, the door plug issue led to that Boeing 737 issue in that Alaska Airlines flight in January. We had the results of that coming out. Now we have the chair of the NTSB, Jennifer Homendy, coming out making some comments saying that Boeing, quote, has a long way to go with regards to its safety culture, and that the NTSB and Boeing have not been able to come to a conclusion as to who removed the door plug in that 737 MAX 9 flown by Alaska Airlines. So keep an eye on ALK and BA as we get comments from the NTSB chair with regards to this investigation, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adara, for that. Appreciate you. I was asked, where do I think the next support is on Intel?
Where is the next support?
So I don't think it's, like, now that you've already obviously found 1990, you might have asked it when it was holding 1990, not 19. But really, I don't think there's anything. It's a triple bottom at 1975, so that's it. We've clearly found this one, so there's no point me reiterating. Like, clearly 1919 looks like something, a couple of cents up and down underneath it, but 1975. That's where I think we should be headed to if the market is going to continue to set downside. So I've thrown out GME. I want to find Boeing isn't really moving all that much. Still can't. Nvidia is not finding a bid, so Nvidia is not finding a bid in here yet at that 106. And I was looking for another chip name if we get another rollover. And looky, here comes Hooky. Yeah, so AMD's not the only, Intel's not the only weak chip name. AMD stinks as well. So this is very, very weak. Look at the push down underneath VWAP, consolidating underneath prior support here on AMD. So I want to look for this 131 retracement. We still got some time. It's still 40 minutes to go. So we have to start wrapping things up, get flat by the end of the day, as you guys all know, here at Real Trading. So 131 looking like a bit of a fade zone here. Carter Schiltz, MU is, I did check MU, and the difference between AMD, Intel, and MU would be MU bouncing off of VWAP here. It's down 1 1/3. Not the best looking daily chart, but a little bit stronger. That's all. I think you can look at a lot of things and see a setup. I prefer to short the... Yeah, we're not going to get 131s on AMD. Let's just leave it at that. Let's find an entry back at... Wow. Okay. Did you add on Intel? Because it's looking like an ad underneath that. Underneath that 1990 we just talked about is looking like an ad on Intel. As clearly you can see AMD making another leg down. It broke 1990. We are continuation SSR on Intel. Are we? No, I don't know that we are. But anyways, I just added to some at 88s on the way down. Wasn't able to get that break or that move up on AMD, but 1990 broke on Intel, which we were just talking about as a support level because that's where the buyer stepped in. When they broke, I've added at 88. My price is now 1990 because I still had some shares from up at like 2005.
Yeah, I'm kind of, okay, all right, we're catching a little bit of a bid here. So I got to keep an eye on this one, 6260s.
Still PayPal?
Yeah, VWAP coming in. Because like we're breaking some significant structures that held pretty much all day. And I've been watching this ticker, so I feel a little bit more comfortable with it. But yeah, no, VWAP coming in here. A bit of a chop and churn. VWAP was confluence with a prior structure right here, just underneath those 6270s. So I got that on watch. Not really holding some of my better prices from earlier, so I got to be wary of that. But yeah, with the market coming down, making a little bit more lows there, I did not get more of Intel there, Neil. So unfortunate on my part, but the market is falling apart just a little bit as of right now. Let's see if we can get those 18-2. What's going on? I see you.
I just canceled a bid on. I actually had a bid on Lucid all day long at $3. Remember the Aftermarket show? And anyone tuning in last night, Lucid did this at the $3 level, ran 3 to 350, pulled right back, held $3, went to 350. This morning it got to 02s, And I was like, oh, I'll pick up some long down here after it already bounced. And I was just sitting at 302, thinking I was going to get that long the whole time. And I realized as the market was coming down, I'm going through my orders because I want to clean some stuff up. We're getting at the end of the day. And I was still bidding 302 on Lucid. Not really moving. It's up today technically, but the percentage is going to say up. But the chart's going to suggest that Lucid did not, in fact, have a good day. So the only thing we added to was just now Intel underneath that 1990. Double checking what AMD is going to look like here. That's a bit of a pop. So AMD pops 60 cents, Intel pops 1 penny, but I still like into this 131.25 if we can pick a short pop in here in AMD. AMD is looking nasty to the downside. And if you look at this daily chart, right back underneath last week's resistance. Look at the 15-minute. It was breaking out. Now you're threatening to lose this gap on advanced micro. There you go. Now you can see it's a bit better. Now you're threatening to lose this gap all the way down into maybe 125. Still has today's bottom to contend with at 29, which means there's room to go.
Yeah. Okay. So we are definitely dropping it down, making it nasty over here on these markets. So a lot of these. What's that? Buck nasty. Yeah, maybe. So a lot again. That 18.3 just holding as of right now. So got to keep a close eye on these tickers here. Yeah, the selling came in pretty aggressively, and this is the first time we've kind of started to slow down a little bit, but just consolidating is what it looks like as some of the selling is still kind of in charge again. Got to keep a close eye on some of these. Intel continues to sell off, man. I missed out on effective entries on the way back down. Look at that crush of that re-break of that 20 right there. Nice little over an hour kind of a shelf there on Intel on top of that 20. Breaks in. Market catalyst as well, right? So time to get a little aggressive when things like that happen. And I do have to do a little bit better with that one. I did get aggressive, but not aggressive enough, Neil. Just something I got to do a little bit better with here. So, okay, you know what? If we're going to bid back up like this, I do want to, okay, you know what? My stop is in place. That's perfectly fine. I'll take that off if need be. It will, you know what? It should deal with me soon enough, right? Okay, yeah, it should. All right, so we'll let that kind of cook and see if that comes in. Intel pushing right back up at 1985s are the lows there of this move. 18.3 kind of holding as well. Let me look across the board just to check. Spider holding 526s. Oh boy. Okay. All right. That's been a bit of an interesting level as well. Alphabet pretty much sideways, man. So that sell-off, that market quadrum didn't really do much. It didn't really do much to Google. Didn't really do much to Amazon either or Apple. So some of these tickers holding very, very strong. So the question becomes, what actually sold off?
Apple looks pretty strong. No, what sold off was AMD, although very quickly gonna get out of a reload of AMD. AMD, here we go. Went to 131. We just had 90s, back into 60s. Reloaded back at like 84, and I'm like, no, don't want this breaking out there. I want the fills above 131, not below 131, and give it to 131.30. I think a little bit more nuance. We're deep into power hour at this point, so I don't want to get caught at a bad price. Price is going to be your friend. And you know what? The advantage of being able to do like lightning quick execution, that allows me to say, hey, if I don't like the price that I'm in, get out of Dodge. I just jumped out of the reload on Intel as well because I'm seeing a little bit of tape. What's the word I like to use? Tape levitation, especially over here in AMD. Could be wrong about it. Intel catching a bid, was able to get some out at those bottoms. But when I see that happening, jump out of the trade and look for a better entry. It could have been up here, but it doesn't look like a good one. And the reality is sometimes your own personal tape reading experience is going to give you an advantage. Things that you're able to see here, sometimes it's really obvious. I think that candle speaks for itself.
I feel it coming.
But if you are interested in trading on a Lightning Fast platform, learning how the markets work, becoming a professional trader and trading real money and getting real experience, well, if you are in Canada, it's back. It's the Real Trading Campus Program. Applications are being taken for the next class, which I believe starts as early as next week. So get them in. Again, this is a free program. We keep saying this. It's a free program if you are in Canada. hopefully expanding outside. The more successful it is, by the way, the better chance it'll expand elsewhere. So get your applications in. It's at realtrading.com/campus. You can scan the QR code below. It's a very in-depth program. You're going to be working with, I can tell you right now, the risk manager on this floor is a part of that program. You're going to get to learn the market basics. You're going to get to learn this platform, P-Pro8, built for traders by traders. I've been using for over 20 years as a trader. I owe a lot to this platform, so I feel no ways about saying that. You're going to go into the simulator, TMS, one-on-one coaching the entire way through. Then you have the chance to go live, trade real money, real capital, get a funded account, 16 hours a week, so you can have a side gig while you're doing it. It only costs you your time and your effort, which as far as I'm concerned is a pretty darn good deal. A lot of people are going to want to try to trade anyways. You're going to put in that work. Everyone wants to be able to do a hard job. Might as well do it right in a professional atmosphere, in a professional trading platform. So check it out right there, Real Trading Campus program. Near and dear to my heart for sure. And I feel like it was the right exit point and looking for a better re-entry on AMD. Every now and then, it just doesn't smell right. And when it doesn't smell right, you got to be able to, get out of the trade, but when it doesn't smell right, there's a million things I could say, and I just realized the one I was going to, I probably shouldn't.
Getting a strong bounce here. I saw people
Buck
in
Nasty
the chat.
would have something to say about that.
Yeah, tasty long saying Neo Roberts in the chat.
know
a
Buck
little
Nasty?
bit. No, I don't.
The player haters? Dave Chappelle?
I'm not.
Rest in peace, Charlie Murphy. That was one of his better characters. But okay, anyways, that's fine. Yeah. Chappelle shows.
I've watched bits and pieces of it. Here's the thing. Whenever I watch things, I may not remember them a little bit after. Let's just say that.
That's the whole shtick. He would do the
My short-term memory is maybe not the best when I'm watching TV. Let's just say that. VWAP holding as of right now on PayPal, on Intel. We're trading below VWAP. That 1985 holding as of right now. Let me know what you guys are trading. Did you guys take a piece of that? Because I was like, I was talking to Neil. I'm talking to Wayne as well. I'm just like, when that flush came in, oh boy, could I have really over leveraged on that trade there. Again, market move here. I was already watching PayPal, so I felt like PayPal was a good instrument to kind of exercise that on. Now I'm sure, take a look at this. Take a look at the spider, right? If you caught that move on the spider and you really smashed it, that went from, you know what? Let me just time it properly. Let me just see if I took the same entry. So I fat fingered here. So I'm gonna, you know what?
You could have taken any chip name.
So. Was it 259? Let's say 259. I'll be a little bit. I'll take this one here because I actually messed up, and then I actually flipped short here instead of trying a long there. So let's say 3, right? Right on 3, right on the hour right there. So let's go down to the 1 minute on the spider here and take a look at the 1 minute. Okay, so right here. So you probably would have gone 527s. It goes down to 525. So that's 2 points of a push on the spider, and then it double bottoms for you, tells you it does not want to break below 525, and take a look at that, right back up to 527. So interesting price action. Stuff like that does not happen very often, and when it does, oh boy, do you really have to kind of just be like, okay, outlier move, I just got to get in, smash, keep a tight risk. If it's going, it's very directional, and players offside, we talk about the offside. I don't want to be, I want to join in with the sellers who are offside here, and I am going to practice that with a short because I don't already have a position
Practice makes perfect.
There on that. But yeah, no, I really feel you on that, the tape reading comment that you said, Neil. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I've seen this before. Like sometimes you can't necessarily describe it in words. Because I'm not that good at putting things into words usually, but no.
Yeah.
You would think I am, but when it comes to just the tape, I can be like, yeah, it's aggressive, or it's slapping the ass, or wiping the bid, or wiping the ass. I can say all of those things, but it doesn't fully get. Okay, we're coming right back in.
If my mom sat next to you and then heard you say that you can't say things articulately or articulate your mind, she would have a lot to say right now. Because that's literally one of the things that you are the strongest at. So you should probably you're very humble.
I feel like it's just deeper. I'm usually unable to put into words how I'm feeling and what I'm seeing. especially when I'm watching this tape. And that was absolutely beautiful. Like when I saw that, instinctually, I knew I just had to punch right away. And I'm just like, okay, well, get in. Sure, you got in the wrong way first, buddy, but it's a good thing that you flipped short. You got aggressive. But yeah, those moments don't show up very often is what I'm trying to get at.
Speaking of moments,
yes.
So I had a moment a second ago. I'm in Nvidia. I'm looking at Nvidia up there, but AMD. So this just happened. I said, I'll get out of AMD because something looks different here with the short, and I want to wait for a better price. So it did this curl up at 131.50. See what happens? That's an aggressive. Okay, so we have a couple of stop orders. One of them is going to fire an aggressive limit order and just get it out. So that's what you saw. I was about to explain why I had a 131.50 stop on that reload, and you saw it just trigger, fire an order up to here, and then literally fill right in there. I don't mind that, but it's still looking relatively strong. See the wicks I'm getting out here? Like it's hitting in, jumping right back into this 131 level, and then bouncing back and forth. So I feel as if it's a scalp trade in there and looking for a breakdown 131. But what happened on this execution is I saw the wick down, went to punch, got in where I thought was a bit of a chase. Instantly, I'm like, that's a bit of a chase zone. I added to it. I'm like, I don't need to have more. I just immediately got out half. It's like, why am I hitting twice down there when I should be short up here? And so once I saw that, I was like, get out of half no matter what, because that doesn't even make any sense. I've chased that move too far. And I think I want to play it station to station, but what's happening now is a lot of levitation. Either we're breaking down under 131 and this is going to die, or give it to the 60 instead of the 50, short the pops. Intel's not doing anything, by the way. I don't think I want to get back into that one, but you're seeing a lot of flying around here. And it makes me want to double check any early imbalances. Visa, 6.5 million to sell on Visa early look. General Motors, 2.5 million to sell. Nike, 1.5 million to sell. Oracle, 1.2 million to sell. Lumen, obviously that's a low flow runner that's going the last couple of days to buy. TAL is a sell of $1 million. AA is a sell of $1 billion. Walmart's a sell of 880,000. These are all early look sell imbalances. Uber is a buy. That's a strong stock today, but that's the morning. Never mind. And then Pfizer is a buy of 500,000. This does not look all that healthy. A lot of early look sells on the imbalance locator. Not the big cap tech names, but Oracle 1.3 would be the only tech name in that group. That just reminded me, whatever happened to that Cisco idea of yours?
Oh, yeah. Let's take a look at that. It's CSCO. Let's see what. Oh, my God. Okay. Not too bad. It ripped up.
Was it good?
It ripped up, so it did not break down. So I was looking for the breakdown. But here's the thing. Got to stay nimble. The breakdown doesn't happen, fails to follow through, and then we rip right back up and trend up all day. So you know what? I think there may or may not have been a trade there. But I guess what I was looking for was a breakdown of that prior level here on Cisco. So I do have it written down here. Where is it? Cisco. Was it fade continuation, multi-time frame level? I think 44 halves was the area. Didn't even get to those prices here. Let's take a look at the weekly, and I can show you what I'm talking about right here. So right here, those are the lows I was talking about. 44.57s coming in for a multi-month low break for a visit down into 44. So only about a 50 penny kind of push down. But look, bigger picture, that is with the bigger picture trend. As of right now, I'm continuing to watch this PayPal as it kind of hovers on top of this VWAP, looking for a potential more flushing to the downside. As again, we aggressively crushed a lot of these prices here, coming in with that sell with only about 30 minutes left on the day. What's that? Uber is still going. Oh,
Uber was the
that's my top idea on the day to get long, and I just. What am I doing?
I'm looking back at it and I'm thinking, I feel like I liked Uber more than Nvidia, but like it didn't end up that way. Like Nvidia ended up better for me than Uber, and I think that was a bit of a mistake. It's taken out the top. Obviously, we didn't have to go short at that high. It's set up, we got out. Now you're looking at, it's above 65.50. This is really late in the day with all those sell imbalances. Kind of weird anyways, because the market started popping. But it's a little bit late to want a high break. Just can't do it. Not with 20 minutes left into the imbalances. But I'd love for it to just hold. Like hold here. Ideally, even lit grab tomorrow down into like the same 63 zone and then go. but this feels like you could be retesting those high 60s from before. Like, look where we're at on the daily chart. You could be breaking out the 200 period moving average again out into this resistance in front of 70. Now, that's a different story whether it can get through 70, but a great look over there on Uber. Has been pretty nasty. I saw it was just in time there. DJT might have to just slap the ask. Yeah, it's going back up again. Thought the chips were going to move a bit better, but yeah, back above VWAP. Volume's only okay relative to what we're seeing and all this floating around on some of the chip names there. But yeah, DJT right back into the upside. I still think, that first initial move you get most out. I held some for the dream. Hold on to that last 10%. Usually, if it goes like $1, great. Willing to risk that 25 pennies that we did. But let's throw it on over. We're going to get a look at the board in just a quick second, but psych, not yet. Now we are ready for the board with Adara.
Pretty green board here. We're going to talk about some of these names with catalysts that are making some outsized moves in the S&P 500. Couple interesting ones today, including Caterpillar, CAT. This was an earnings name from this morning. They're up more than 4%, beating earnings per share and sales estimates for Q2 2024. We also have here an interesting one in CrowdStrike, near a high of days, up more than 5%, actually getting an upgrade from Piper Sandler to overweight, that they did decrease their price target from 310 to 290. Saying that they think there is some long-term growth there despite the recent impacts of the outage. Speaking of that outage, CrowdStrike is also now facing a proposed class action lawsuit from 3 passengers who were impacted by its outage in mid-July. So interesting look here for CRWD continuing to grind higher. Last but not least, Disney, DIS, also on watch here ahead of its earnings before the open tomorrow. But today, they announced they're going to be raising their prices for their streaming, Disney Plus, by up to 25% and adding some channels. This was announced through an email statement. We'll have to see their earnings tomorrow, but right now, DIS doing quite well on this Tuesday, guys.
Yeah,
Go
Disney with
Disney.
that move, man.
Raise those prices so I can pay even more money to not finish the Acolyte. That's how I'm rolling. I still have not finished the Acolyte. I swear I'm gonna do it because I am the most loyal, illogical Star Wars fan out there. Stick around the Aftermarket. We're gonna have Brian Shannon on for the Aftermarket show, but we've got a host of earnings. You've got Caterpillar was this morning, but you've got Airbnb after the bell. We got 8% is the expected move. RIVN is going to be reporting after the bell with a 13% expected move on RIVN. That is going to be a big one. I said I would do it, and where is my stonks? I'm going to actually find it for you live because I know I got stonks up here. I have yet to make my play, and they have their stream going on, but I got to make my prediction here for Airbnb. Obviously, I said I didn't win on Palantir. I actually won I think I won 50 cents or something. I won $6 on the Meta one, but won only about 50 cents. I'm going to go Airbnb, and I do the same thing every single time, everybody. It's at $131. $142.69. Submission is in if you want to check it out. Obviously, just go to stonks.com, get your free entry. It's absolutely free. You make a prediction on where the price of Airbnb is going to be at 4:30. It's absolutely free. You share in a prize pool of up to $1,000 there. I do believe you can just check the description in the video below, or if you can get that, can we get the QR code up there for Stonks in a quick little second? We'll get the QR code up, but you can hit the link in the description or just go to stonks.com. As I said, I've been making pretty much all of the same plays on these everywhere you go. So we'll see what happens. Shout out to them at Stonks. It is free. 142.69. We can check out on the Aftermarket show how I did. There it is. Win up to $1,000 for Airbnb earnings. And don't hijack my pick, people. You saw live what I bid. I want to try to win this thing. I'm just going to throw that up here so it's easier to grab next time. I want to win. So make your own pick. You know the 4 2s and the 6 9s are I'm going to pick a price in that range. So make your own pick. The other thing about that 142, it's not in the middle of nowhere. Look, Obi, you can see. Look at the resistance on the 15-minute chart just above 142. So not only am I making a free pick, but I'm actually using some sense. I'm looking for a gap up. I just pick gap up or down and pick a resistance zone. I'm not making it up. Now the 69, I'm kind of making up because I'm picking up a number over 142, but
Yeah, it's a pleasant number.
it's a level.
Nice.
I mean, it depends on what you're into.
Yeah, of course. All right. So, yeah, market kind of, that was absolutely wild, man. Just market getting clued in the head right hard at that 3 o'clock mark there, flushing back down, a little bit of reversion happening underneath that 20 on Intel. I got nothing else here. Did you guys, you know what? I was reading through some of the comments here. Kyle Burdett with the comment saying, Obi, you are a reversion trader so many times. Why were you not having confidence in trying to find a short when we are getting 1+% over VWAP on the indices? That's your trade, man. Hey, man, listen, I know this is something that I'm working on. I'm working on the reversion trade. Now, again, if you wanna like mentor me on some of that trade, we can talk about that. But yeah, I don't know too much about that 1% over under VWAP for indices reversions. I so far right now, in terms of what I've playbooked and kind of the data that I've collected, are reversions on individual stocks. And I'll tell you something right now. Here's the thing. I'm not doing well in following my own rules because my data shows me that if something consolidates for more than half an hour to 45 minutes, the probability of reversion starts to drop significantly. And the thing is, PayPal consolidated and trended up for over 3 hours, and I'm still trying to revert it, right? So that's something I do have to get better at. But Kyle Burdett, maybe we'll talk. We'll talk a little bit on that. Perhaps in the future there, but no, I do like the reversion. I have the counter trend or the a contrarian kind of mentality. Shout out to Sniper, one of my early mentors. Sniper no sniping. Yeah.
So I'm going to give you one thing. First off, this is the best community for a reason because we have traders of all ilk here. You've seen all of our styles. And the things that we like and the things, so many, and it's not just Kyle, Riven Millionaire, Ponzi. Fonzie's been around for a while. Fat Figure in the mornings. So many, I could go list, and we do it in the rundown in the afternoon, the roll call in the afternoon. But if you look at the reversion trade that I know you like, Obi, I think this is what he's getting at. Like so the risk to reward on this when it breaks, now you can decide where you want to. Once you make this breakout, I'm looking for the trend after, not the whole day long trend. Like to me, like this, if you were drawing something in the morning, it would probably, actually I wouldn't even use that. You got a reversion to VWAP. No, I would use this trend line from here to here. So like if I was doing a trend reversion early, it would be this one to that one, and then this breakdown of VWAP. Mine that actually set up really nice. And then look at it break on the other side of it. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. The one in the afternoon, wow, that looked really good though. But the one in the afternoon is set up from here. Why am I in AMD? And out. Why was I bidding 131 on AMD? It doesn't really matter. I got really lucky. I just made 15 cents on AMD. I shouldn't have had that bid out there. I have no orders out. I did not have an order. I swear I didn't have an order. I thought I cleaned them all up. But punched right out of it. Don't want that trade. So SPY, it holds that support level. There's your higher low. To me, from there, and then you're kind of joining these trend lines. It's a dirty trend line. If I line it up a little better, it's probably going to work with that top and look at it hold that top, breaks down right away. If it consolidates for an hour, probably not any good. The news hit, and that probably helped. But to me, those types of things, if it's parabolic up, bigger move, find that trend. I didn't do a very good job of drawing that trend line because I was doing it from zoomed out. But you get the general idea. That's your trade. Obi, and to be honest, I put that in my toolbox because of you. So shout out to you for that one.
Thank you.
And it worked.
I do. Yeah, no, it does. I mean, it works. The execution has to be a little bit pristine. You got to be able to follow your rules. I see people in the chat saying, was it 1320 Wolf? No, Oscarito saying you need a 3-strike rule. I have a 3-strike rule. I just don't follow it. I got to get better at following my rules. That's what it is, right? It's like in theory, I understand that. Like, okay, well, if you're trying something one too many times, maybe you should stop out, take a look away from the ticker. Yeah, no, it's just something I have to get better at. Put in meaningful reps for not being stubborn, and I am definitely right now a little too stubborn for my own liking. That's something I do have to work on. That is a weakness of mine as a trader. And that kind of prevents me from being nimble at times, right? So I am aware of that. And I'm trying to find meaningful ways so that I can kind of put those actions into reps. Like, yeah, sure, in theory, you're like, all right, 3 strikes, you're out. All right, so 3 strikes, you're out, right? So, okay, so look at this PayPal. PayPal, I never got out. I got out once, twice, thrice, maybe a little bit more in here, 3, 4 times there. And then, I don't know, this was a totally different trade, right? This was market driven as well, but the reversion does come in here. But, you know, 3 strikes is definitely a great solid rule. But again, I have to do better. I have to do better at following my rules, respecting myself, respecting my charting. Sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, there's a support resistance level here that I've drawn in maybe a long time ago, and I'm seeing some action. But then I'll start questioning myself, being like, oh, well, really, how much does that really matter right now? What do I know? And then half the time it kind of just rejects in that area as well. So I got to find the balance. And I think that goes back to find like seat time. Sharif was talking about seat time, screen time as well, and putting in meaningful reps. And that's something that I'm still trying to figure out. And you know what? Along the way, you find different mentors, different traders, and I'm thankful for being around more experienced traders as well, and kind of grasping some of that knowledge, some of that knowledge. To say, and really kind of put that into my own trading and really adapt. And that's kind of the part of the journey that I'm on right now.
I love this.
Still a little break even overall, but you know what? We will get there.
5 minutes to imbalances. Rivian millionaire. What happens when Obi becomes perfect?
Never.
Does he just disappear?
Never.
I think that's what
we try to achieve those goals of perfection, but you know for a fact that there's no such thing. Absolutely no such thing.
If you catch the top, every now and then you catch the top or the bottom.
Can always be
Kyle
better.
Burdett, Obi, and Neil, if I had an accountability manager, it would have saved me many nights of crying and not sleeping. That's the value of the trading floor. You know, I talked to, we referenced Wayne and Brankles, his name's Brandon on the desk, at the risk manager on the floor. I was in that position at one point. Sean's done it before. A lot of us have done that while trading. And regardless of your experience level, you still have to talk to somebody over ideas. When I'm sitting next to Obi, that's who I'm talking to. And I talk to those guys at least once or twice a day, because you always have to be bouncing your ideas off of somebody that isn't just yourself, because you're going to just confirm your own biases all the time. Right? I want somebody who's going to look at it, you look at the trades that I've made or the decisions that I've made or what I'm explaining as my logic and reasoning, and be able to see a different perspective. That's the entire point of having an accountability manager. One of the reasons why I always reference Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke is because she talks about that heavily, and poker players do that all the time. Whether you want to talk to somebody not about how much money they made or lost, but about the individual decisions that they made, and they'll say, "This is the spot that I was in. This is what the flop was. This is my whole card. This is what the betting pattern was, and then I made this decision. What did you think?" Regardless of what the outcome was. And so, just to an idea here, I don't know why I was bidding 1/3. I was never even looking long on in AMD, but I did, for whatever reason, have a buy order out there. You saw me while I was talking. I got into position. I just punched out. It actually bounced off 131, so that was very lucky. But I just punched out. It's coming back to the downside now with 2 minutes till the imbalances. Still mostly sell side on the early looks, led by Visa, GM, Walmart, now Ford, and Nike, all over 1 million shares to the sell side. So this should be a pretty interesting one for sure. Thank you very much, Matthew and Criminal Scum. Criminals. I just read the chat for that name. That's a good one. Appreciate you guys saying that we're good teachers. I've never thought myself a good teacher, to be honest with you. I remember when I was in high school, I did some math tutoring because I was good at math. And I really loved doing it, but I can't pretend that I was the best at it. And I got that feedback. I was never really good at explaining things to people. I think it made sense in my head, and I wasn't always the best at communicating. So hopefully I've gotten better at that. And you guys have been a big help with it every single day. So 2 minutes to go to imbalances. I have no orders out. All my stops are canceled. Let's look to see if these sell imbalances actually come out this way. But it is a host of sell imbalances on the early look, unless you're looking at Lumen, which is probably right back. Well, it says the auction price, theoretically. That was this morning at $4. That was this morning's imbalance. $5 on Lumen. I didn't realize it did this in the afternoon, but still 91% to the upside. LUMN just continues to keep going and going and going. It's got one red day since it broke $1. That was on July the 10th. Who knew? I wish I could tell you I knew. You'll not see me in this one. Oh well, what are you going to do? And whoever took that 425 breakout trade, right to $5, a good one. I do feel like there's going to be a day of reckoning for this stock, and the day that it happens, I'm going to have paid for locates, hopefully. Doesn't mean it's going to win, but it's going to be worth a shot. This does not last forever. Let's be real. To me, this is now at that point. I'm looking for a turn tomorrow. Doesn't mean I'm going to get it. There's 150,000 shares on the offer right now at $5. And that's here, not even the high of the day. Like, it is stacked up here. It's on 200 million shares, by the way. 230 million shares of volume on Lumen today.
What's the price?
$5.
Okay, so it's done about a quick maths.
Well, hold on, I got to check the
Billion
flow.
worth?
Imbalances in 20 seconds. I just realized I don't know what the flow is. I'll check that for myself.
Pull that stuff up right now. Yeah, okay, so market's pulling in even further now. So I was looking at the SPY. We were talking about the SPY earlier. Hold of that 225. Take a look, 525, and look at that breakdown of that 525 as of right now coming in, trading about 40 pennies lower on the spider there. And yeah, so some crazy continuation of that selling that was happening. What's going on?
Alphabet, 2.3 million to sell. Nvidia, 2.1 million to buy. Nike came out as expected, 1.6 million to the sell side. Ford came out to sell as expected, 1.5 million. Walmart and Cisco came out as sell as expected, 1.4 million. This is what the expectation was on Walmart, but mostly sell side. Alphabet buy. Whoa. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, Goog is a buy of 1 million. Goog L is a sell of 2.3 million. So throw that out the window as far as I'm concerned. I don't care what the imbalance is on Alphabet. If one is a buy and one is a sell, none of that ish makes any sense to me. So there's probably some kind of a arbitrage going on that we should not care about as day traders. Nvidia, still a buy of 1.8 million. The overall number is 4 billion to the sell side, with the NQ being 980 million sell and the Mag 7 375 to sell. Where are we getting 4 billion from? I guess you get Visa in there, you got GM, Nvidia to the buy though, and Nike to the sell side. Oh, Lumen reports tonight, by the way.
Oh, okay.
That's the other thing. I forgot to mention Lumen is reporting after the bell.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some earnings happening tonight. Let me just take a quick look at what some of those earnings are as of right now. Earnings calendar. Open that up right here. So today's Tuesday, right? We had Uber, Caterpillar today, and we got Airbnb tonight. SMCI. Oh boy. All right. SMCI, RIVN as well. Reddit, RDDT reporting tonight.
Right, Reddit too.
Tomorrow morning, Novo Nordisk, Disney. We saw Disney had intraday news today as well. And these markets continue to fall as I'm talking. Shopify, CVS, Emerson, Sony, and Lyft as well. Ralph Lauren, DT. I don't know what DT is, but
SMCI
CVS, SMCI is reporting tonight as well. And so it should be an interesting day tomorrow with day one earnings. And then obviously we have day twos.
Continuation.
Uber. Closing is poised to close near day highs, right? Let's pull up that Uber chart.
So before we go to that, just one quick thing. At 355, imbalances usually pair. So all those sell imbalances you saw, the market is heading to the downside. At 355, you sometimes see a reversion back up, and somebody doesn't want to be in SMCI before earnings. That's what this tape is telling me. 7 consecutive red candles on a 3-minute, right back into VWAP. We got to the highs, and SMCI said, nope, we're headed back to the downside. You never know what's going to happen with earnings, and Lumen did end up breaking that $5 level. So when you see 1 million shares on the offer, it always looks impressive, but when it's done 230 million shares on the day, it doesn't matter. Right through that $5 break, this stock is absolutely insane. Like, there's tens of thousands of shares on the offer, and it's moving like this. There is unlimited liquidity.
4 million to buy.
Unlimited liquidity right now in Lumen, and it's doing this.
Whoa.
What happened?
Nothing. I was just looking
You got me. You got me.
looking at some of these tickers. I was watching this one ticker and it just flipped the imbalance, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa! I was just about to potentially get into that. I'm like, goddamn. Okay, thank you. I did not look away right now. All right, cool. So the NQ selling off a little bit more, going into the close. So is the ES here as we pull into the close here. 7 minutes left to until the bell. Right now, Odyssey Fight's saying, "Come on, man! You guys thought something was happening. Well, something's always happening."
I'm like looking over, like, what stock is moving? Something must have just lit up. Lumen is flying to the upside here. I have to get to the desk in like a minute or two. I'm going to stick around for the 355 just in case we get a pairing event here. But since it broke 5, it consolidated at this lower high and is just churning. And when I tell you it's going through now 10 million shares have gone off in this move to the upside. 10 million shares have gone off on Lumen as it's now up 100%. They report tonight. They got the good news out of the way. Good luck to anybody buying those tops, but a scalp trade certainly would have worked out for you. So we got about 10 seconds, and then we'll see what happens with these imbalances. Nvidia is already right back into the lows. I don't even see Nvidia anymore. No, there it is. Nvidia still a buy imbalance for now, but 355 hit, you just saw it disappear. Apple's a buy of $1 million. Google is still Google is still a sell, with Goog being a buy. And they are now exactly the same. So that is 100% nothing burger. Oh, yeah, SunPower, $3 million to sell, going bankrupt, as expected. Not looking good for them, but a bit of a pairing event there in Nvidia, although it's still right there. Now actually to a sell imbalance. So from a buy to a sell, paired off, and now a sell imbalance on Nvidia. Apple moved to a buy, and Lumen right to 530. There's your dip. So the break was fantastic. What goes up must come down, but not me, clown. I'm going to head over to the desk. Shout out to a great day of trading and a great day of learning there, Obi. Likewise. And let's keep this party going. We've got Brian Shannon. We've got a ridiculous amount of earnings that I'm not going to list off again. We've got Darren and myself at the desk, and you've got Obi till the close.
Thank you
I will
again,
crutch my way away.
Neil. Again, always blessing us with the Neilage and his presence. Neil, thank you very much. Once again, Uber was what I was talking about. Uber poised to close near high a day there. 65.82s is the high a day. Trading at 65s right now with less than 4 minutes left to trade. And take a look at these markets. These markets are reverting. I was trying to short all the way up, and the sell comes in at the very end. Have some patience, I'm telling myself right now. Sure, it's catalyst driven. But yeah, you know what? It is what it is. Got to be a little patient. That spider is coming in real hot, I'm seeing as of right now. Take a look at that. 522s. We were talking about getting short. 527s, 526s. That's a big drop going into the close here. Again, looking at the futures as well. We're coming back down from an attempted push of 18,450. And we are trading below 18,200 as of right now. I don't have any positions on, right? Okay, cool. We're good. Nothing too crazy as of right now. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. For Profit saying, where's Obi still in his bag? Yeah, I know, sometimes. But the bag sometimes, I guess, works out. I don't know. I got to do a little bit better with that one. Yes. Charlie Taff, it's just you and us. It's you and me. All right, so on the day, 3 minutes left. Absolutely wild. Strong bid. Gave you the longs all right off of the open with some of those opening range low holds. And then we give back a good chunk of the move. Talk about retracements and reversions. This is a 50% reversion of today's price action coming in with some of those comments that were made about the Fed rate cuts and stuff in and around that 3 o'clock mark there. Intel trading lower. Surprisingly, PayPal is holding VWAP right now. and take a look at this. This chart is absolutely beautiful here. See what Nvidia is up to. Nvidia, not as much of a pullback as I thought it would be. Softy, what are you up to? Softy, nice. More than a 50% pullback, breaking back through that 400 mark as of right now. Take a look at our friend Google as well, taking a quick scan through the Mag 7, the tech sector, which is heavily weighted in both of our futures here. Amazon, what are you up to? Amazon, a little bit of a 50% retracement. Meta, Tesla, a little bit of a pullback here, break a trend as well. But something I'm going to continue to watch tomorrow is going to be Uber, man. This trend started prior day, and we're carrying forward, confluenced with strong earnings and a strong market tailwind. But guess what? That tailwind that we were getting, a little bit of a disconnect as it pulls back in quite aggressively. Uber still holding well within, kind of breaking trend, but well within that push there. I do got to get this countdown ready as I see Adara pulling up to the bell here. Only about 40 seconds. Hopefully you guys had a crazy day. I mean, a good day, as today was crazy, right? Hopefully you had a great day there. But okay, so 20 more seconds. I gotta time this right. If you guys remember, I wasn't getting the timing too right over the past few months there, so I gotta hone it in. Only about 20 seconds left. Leave it in the chat. What have you guys been trading today as we go down to the countdown right now with 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Wow, that was beautiful. Okay. Oh, I didn't even see you drop the mallet. I was looking at the price action coming into the close. Sorry, I did not mean that, Adara. I was like, I saw the slam down into the close. I'm like, that was beautiful. And then the mallet also slammed into the ground along with the market. A little bit of confluence happening there. But before I leave you guys, Fabian has asked me to point something out in the chat. So there was a poll that was happening earlier on today for what type of game you guys want to play. So Family Feud and Jeopardy were the options, right? So I think one was distinctly different as Family Feud was top of the poll there. So click on that link, and we got a couple of questions for y'all over here that you might want to fill out for the Family Feud survey on this Google Docs document here. So check that out, take a look at that, and Fabian and Ramin will have that set up for us eventually. But yeah, thank you for spending time with us today. Thank you for everything that you guys do. Again, I'm interacting with the chat a little bit more. It's been fun. It's been a ride there as well. Hopefully you guys had a green day in terms of process. Doesn't matter the P&L, red or green. Did you follow the process? Did you follow your rules? I got to do better with that. If that is the case, I'm not having such a green day. But you know what? Tomorrow we come back better, harder, faster, and stronger. But you guys, don't go anywhere. We got Neil and Adara at the big desk with the market recap. Got some spicy earnings on the way tonight and tomorrow morning. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.
Lumen is out. Although it's not moving all that much just yet, LUMN earnings have hit up 90%. It was already up 100% at one point at the close. It's starting to head back into the downside, down at 480. So that $5 breakout went 30 cents up. It's 30 cents down now, down to $4.75. We are waiting for earnings coming from SMCI, Airbnb, Toast, Fortinet, Reddit, all at 405. Lumen is first, and I'm guessing it's not. The face you're making suggests it ain't good.
I want to preface this with saying I was talking to Sharif about this before the market opened, and also on the midday. When you get announcement before earnings, like what Lumen did, I am a little suspicious of what the earnings report will be. That trend seems to be continuing. For Q2 revenue, Lumen reported here $2.48 billion. Analysts were looking for $3.24 billion. That is going to be a miss. Q2 adjusted EBITDA, $875 million. Analysts were looking for $1.02 billion. That would be another decent miss here. Q2 adjusted loss per share, 13 cents. Analysts were looking for a loss per share of 6 cents. Not to make light of this report, but it is pretty weak, especially when compared to estimates.
Airbnb's out.
Oh, Airbnb's out, so we'll stop looking at Lumen here.
Airbnb is absolutely dumping here. Airbnb down already $12 from a 130 break. They don't like it, and my guess on the earnings, I should have guessed down. Obviously, a big move to the downside here. Rivian's not till 415, but Airbnb is absolutely cratering. It just tried to catch a bid down here at 118. Checked up at 120, so resistance at the 120, and it's right back into the lows here, Adair. What are the numbers?
I mean, generally not great. Q2 revenue, $2.75 billion, slightly beating estimates here of $2.74 billion. Earnings per share are a miss. 86 cents per share versus estimates of 92 cents per share. Q2 gross bookings are a slight miss here, 21.2 billion versus estimates here of 21.3 billion. Just to clarify, that's the gross booking value, so that also coming in below estimates. Additionally, too, their outlook for Q3 revenue, not necessarily great here, 3.67 billion to 3.73 billion. Estimates were looking for 3.84 billion. So even the higher end of that estimate range there pretty bad. If you could see the face Neil's making, I would definitely agree. They also expect their Q3 ADR to, quote, increase modestly year over year, saying that their outlook for Q3 and nights and experiences book is going to be sequential moderation in year over year growth relative to Q2. None of these numbers are exactly pleasing.
Reddit might be out, because if Reddit's not out, someone's in a world of hurt right now. And it's only getting, that's not good. So Reddit did jump from 55 to 62. That's real. It happened. It just went right back under the lows. The numbers are very likely coming out. Is the dumpster fire that Airbnb actually got to 115 and headed lower. But then all of a sudden I've got Reddit breaking out, going over 10% up, and now red, and then back to flat here on Reddit. Looks like it's going to be an absolutely wild one. And I want to give this just quickly, super chat. Thank you, Adam DeLuz, for the super chat. I happen to know this already. Biggest trade of the day was selling the GBP for beers with Sean and his wife Marissa in London. Our loyal viewer, Mr. Adam DeLuz, catching up with Sean on his vacation. And we look forward to you coming to Toronto. We'll take you out, and drinks are on us, Adam. Lots of great places to go around here. Unfortunately, downside on Reddit here, although it's holding these bottoms. Just don't get trapped in those early moves, man. Somebody's long, or somebody bought this thing at $62 a couple of minutes ago. Doesn't feel good. I
have Reddit as well here. Revenue actually a beat for Q2, $281.2 million versus estimates of 253.6 million. That would be a miss. That's a beat. Sorry, guys. 281.2 million versus estimates of 253.6 million. They also beat quite nicely here for Q2 adjusted EBITDA. Their Q3 revenue outlook here also above estimates, 290 million to 310 million. Analysts were looking for 378 million. So that is going to be a beat from what I'm seeing across the board. Daily active unique users, 91.2 million versus estimates of 83.8 million for Q2. That's also a beat. I'm not seeing any misses here. Net income, it might be the net income here. A loss of $10.01 per share. The analyst estimates I saw, they were looking for a loss, a much smaller loss. I'm not sure if that's the exact number, because sometimes we do see like different estimates not comparing. I'll keep an eye on those Reddit numbers. Well,
I think that's why it was all over the place and even heading back and forth. But Upstart is definitely going up. What am there's not very, what do you want me to do? Like, it's not even a good pun. Fabian over there loving that one. I think there's a low-hanging fruit. I had nothing really good for you, but at least something's up. 23% on Upstart on the day. Okay, it was kind of already up. But 24, already breaking to 29, looking like it's holding some of those highs. Big move up here for Upstart after that quadunk by Airbnb, and a bit of a mixed bag over there on Reddit.
Yeah, so Upstart here, pre-tax profit, they lost less than expected here, losing $54.54 million versus estimates of $67.3 million loss. That would be a beat. I'm not seeing any other of their numbers, though, other than that pre-tax profit. Their Q2 fees revenue coming in at $130.53 million. Analyst estimates here, we're looking for $125.16 million. So that's also going to be a beat for Upstart. I'm going to look for SMCI as well, because they were supposed to report.
Upstart's short float is 33%. here on TradingView. So that's going to cause a little bit of a move to the upside when you get any kind of a beat. But I just saw in the chat there, first of all, yeah, of course, we're going to be ahead of the CNBC because we're trading. We're pretty much always going to be ahead. Real time, real movement. That's what we're all about. It is what it is. That's what we do. The Reddit chart does not look good. It's still heading lower. It doesn't really matter what we think of the report. It's been in a downward trend there. I wanted to pop a 15-minute on it. It is at least holding these bottoms, right? It's holding on to these lows that we just made yesterday. So for now, it's managing to hold on to those bottoms, but that was a false breakout on Reddit. And I do feel like somebody's trapped long on that. Hopefully they already got out. Definitely dire trading if you're going to be doing the aftermarket. And if you get in early, you can be absolutely rinsed on that. Fortinet must be out. I just saw them move 10% to the upside here. Let me pop it back over to like a 1 minute or 3, doesn't really matter. Fortinet is pumping 10% already, 11% now for Fortinet. Looking a little bit better on this side. Very mixed bag. Get a couple of bad moves, get a couple of good ones here. Fortinet looking good, Adara.
Yeah, we do have Fortinet coming out, these numbers out here. Q2 revenue for $1.43 billion versus estimates of $1.403 billion. That is going to be a beat for Q2 revenue. What else will we get out here?
Rivian.
Rivian coming out. Okay, Rivian came out early then. They're supposed to come out at 4:15. Give me a second here, guys, to get those numbers out.
Rivian is going to the downside. Again, false breakout, but this one was different. This was a false breakout in the aftermarket early. People were buying this before anything was happening, and then we've turned around at 15.30 or so, right down into 14. Adara is literally covering her face, so I'm going to imagine the numbers are not good. It's Rivian. They lose $1 million per car. They don't make money. What do we expect out of their earnings? But obviously, it's not good.
Okay, well, I actually was not even cringing at the numbers, though. We'll talk about those. I'll get into the thing I was making that face at. But as far as the numbers go, we beat here for revenue, $1.16 billion in Q2 revenue versus estimates of $1.14 billion. Q2 adjusted earnings per share, they lost more than expected. They lost $1.46 per share. Analysts were looking for a loss of $1.21 per share. They did say that the Q2 production was impacted by plant downtime, quote, associated, I guess, with some retooling upgrade. The thing that made me make that face was the fact that, according to RJ Scaringe, their CEO, the company has no plans to get some additional funds after that VW deal, which is kind of an odd choice. We know the market got really excited when they announced said VW deal. They also expect deliveries in Q3 to be, quote, slightly below what we saw in Q2, and that also the effect of the changes in their cost structure for the vehicles produced will be, quote, seen fully in Q4. So some vague and odd statements coming out of RJ Scaringe with a larger than expected loss per share and a revenue beat, guys.
Yeah, we know that, look, we know how it is. It's like they're losing money. It is what it is, but that's not a great look for them. What did we expect? Ultimately, it's still holding down around 14. It just bounced off the $14 level, so 14.20 is holding a little bit here. So I think we've gotten most of the earnings names out there. I'm a little bit surprised we don't have SMCI yet. So SMCI is dead flat. There's nothing happening here. We were expecting 405 for SMCI. There's no movement. So with Fortinet bouncing upside, Airbnb to the downside, Rivian down, Reddit down after an early move, Upstart with a big move there. Still nothing happening here on SMCI, which was to be one of the more anticipated earnings names. We were expecting a good move out of SMCI, and nothing just yet. But you guys have to be patient. Sometimes they come out a little bit late, I suppose.
Yeah, on Thursday, we had quite a few names come out late. I am going to go over a few more earnings names. We did have Toast coming out here as well. So for revenue, slight beat here for Toast, $1.242 billion versus estimates of $1.223 billion. They did beat there for revenue. Q2 operating income, $5 million versus an expected loss of $20.9 million. So that would also be a beat. Yeah. Another one here I'm seeing some questions about in the chat was SGMO. This one is a smaller name, and they had a bit of a miss, to put it lightly, here for Q2 revenue for SGMO. They reported $356,000 in Q2 revenue. Analysts were looking for $8.26 million. So that was the SGMO, just because some people were asking about that in the chat as well. We're waiting for SMCI. It was late, but keep in mind, we had quite a few names late on Thursday as well, so this does happen sometimes.
Yeah, it's out. It must be out. SMCI down through $600. I just saw it's continuing to fall. It literally, as you finished speaking, Adara, we just lost the bid on SMCI, down $25 and still going. Here's the 1 minute. The low this morning was 590. If it loses that, it can't be any good. It's a 9% short float, but that doesn't matter when the stock goes down.
Numbers yet.
If somebody fat fingered that before the numbers are released, that's not going to be good for them if it ends up being a beat. But it just popped a little bit back into 610. So there is some movement back to the upside here if the numbers are not out on SMCI.
I'm just waiting, guys.
I'll wait for you to get them. And the price action is wild. It just bounced $15 and then back down another $5. Not a lot of liquidity in the aftermarket.
I'm not seeing them.
Yeah, it is still holding and bouncing a little bit here. There's a possibility. Like I cannot make this up. It was on this floor. There was a trade on economic numbers, specifically the oil number, and I'll never forget. A couple of traders accidentally got in before the oil number was released, and it was nasty, nasty. This is the same thing with earnings aftermarket. If it's not out yet and it's making that move, then there's people that are in this sucker short or have sold into this before we have the numbers. And if it comes the other way, you could see a pretty ridiculous move to the upside. So we're only talking about the price action. The fact that it bounced with nothing out makes sense to me because the numbers weren't out. Someone just took advantage of the fact saying, hey, the algos jumped in there with no report. Why wouldn't it bounce off the $600 level? So what a crazy, crazy day here. It's back down into 600 on SMCI, but still no report yet.
Yeah, what's interesting too is when we had some late earnings from Thursday, I even said at the time what we saw was at least I was getting a notification the report was out. I just wasn't seeing what those numbers were. Not seeing that in SMCI. I've checked multiple sources. I also have it coming in my ear, so it should be coming if we do get anything. Just to clarify, everyone in the chat asking about SMCI, they were supposed to report at 4:15. I am seeing no evidence of a report, nor am I seeing any numbers. I will keep an eye out, and I will let you guys know if we hear anything from super microcomputers, as it looks like we're getting even more movement on this.
Yeah, I mean, it's still moving around here. It's caught a bid, but there's resistance. I guess this actually makes technical sense because the afternoon low is pretty much where it bounced to. Like it goes 613 the afternoon low. It made the bounce off 592 into 613, and that's turning into this resistance level, technically speaking. So that actually makes a little bit of sense here in a vacuum. I suppose if it breaks out, to me, if it breaks out, that it would be the numbers that have come out there to actually get it to go through the top. But while we're waiting around, I know we're going to get to Brian Shannon. Now you're starting to move again. He's doing a lot of volume for the numbers not being out. Why anybody would be this active, I really hope someone didn't get caught in that short. I hate to see that kind of thing happen. But I just wanted to point out a couple of things before we get to Brian Shannon. It was a good day for a lot of things today. SMH with a recovery up that 2%. You're going to see, obviously, TLT going to be down that 2. One thing that did stand out, and I wanted to shout out, we have a lot of great guests. K-Web with another move up. We're talking about that with Brian. I almost said Brian Shannon. Brian Shannon's coming on. We're talking about that with Michael Nas, and he liked K-Web. Some continuation on that, so a good one there for you. Still nothing yet on SMCI. So I believe we have Brian ready to go. So let's get into Trader Talk. And when SMCI decides they want to release their numbers, they can do so. What a day, Brian. We got Brian Shannon, CMT. Your title says CMT. I like to say the most well-read technical analyst out there on the market, certainly on this floor. And I want to shout out to you for all the work you do there. But what a last couple of days. Unbelievable.
Boy, a little bit of something for everyone, right? Except for longer-term buy and holders. They're getting just a little slapped here. But, that's part of the process for them. I don't think that's really any reason for a longer-term person to be concerned. But it's been a great day trading environment. I'm very reluctant to hold anything overnight. Still got a little bit of Campbell's soup, which is the one I told last week that I was, embarrassed that I was holding. I told Sean that, but it behaves well, so hold on to it.
Why embarrassed?
Because it's Campbell's soup. And the way I look at it, Neil, is that's a grandpa's stock. And then I remember I am a grandpa, so, it hits on a personal level.
Well, you can't tell. You look younger than I do, that's for sure. And I'm not. If I'm a grandpa, then we have a problem right now. But look, it looks. I was just saying the reason I say why embarrassed about Campbell's is because the chart looks great. So And like, I don't care what the stock is, but if it's in an upward trend, then holding it equals good. In my book.
It's true. It's an ego thing. It's foolish. I get it. But I'd rather make money in Nvidia or SMCI or something sexy, right?
Just very quickly, I want to jump. We're going to get to the SMCI numbers here. Everyone's been waiting for them. We're going to go to Adair, get the numbers because whoever sold just got destroyed.
Yeah, sorry about that, interrupting there, but we do have these numbers out here for SMCI for their fiscal Q4. Sales coming in at $5.31 billion. Analysts were looking for $5.303 billion. That is going to be a beat for sales. Q4 adjusted earnings per share coming in below the estimates here, though. $6.25 per share. Analysts were looking for $8.07 per share. They're also expecting for the fiscal year, which for them ends in 2025 fiscal year ends September 20th. They're expecting net sales of $6 to $7 billion here. So again, sales beat, Q4 EPS miss here, and they're looking for $6 to $7 billion in sales for their fiscal 2025.
So two things here. Nvidia's up $3 on that move in sympathy. And I've said this before, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this. I think this move might have gotten exacerbated a bit by whoever fat-fingered or who was selling down before the earnings came out, because clearly they need to unwind into less liquidity when the earnings come through. Whatever the liquidity was before they dropped it, there's going to be less when it just broke out that top. So I really hope no one that we know got rinsed on that. Michael, just on topic here, have you ever traded in the aftermarket on earnings?
I have in the past, but that was, I haven't done it for years. It's just not my game anymore. I'm a Campbell's soup guy.
Which is fair. And you know what, to be in full disclosure, traders on this floor have done it, and that really stopped a couple of years ago as well. I don't remember 2-3 years ago, but certainly it was done more back in the day. And this is exactly what can happen to people if you make a mistake. Now, if you get it right, great. But if their earnings aren't out and someone's punched short, they don't have a choice. If you put a stop in there, I don't know where you're getting filled on a stop at the high. But this is now $703 and up 19%.
SMCI stock split. They announced a 10-for-1 stock split. This just coming out here. Sorry to interrupt. Also, their view for their fiscal Q1, which is their upcoming quarter, they're seeing earnings of $7.58 per share and revenue of $5.46 billion, not $5. So again, the main thing here, though, is a stock split for Supermicro, 10-for-1 forward split of its common stock already authorized.
And it's also a bigger move than expected. 14% expected move, more up 17%. But who could have seen that coming? Brian, we couldn't have necessarily known it was going to go up, but explosion to the upside on this name. However, if we're talking about the overall market, I know a few people that whisper some things out there on the old X machine that might be able to make some calls every now and then that outside of Campbell's Soup. So if you can let us know what you've been looking at the last little bit. Not a very good day yesterday, and certainly some of the rally we've had has alluded to some opportunities that have been out there at the day trading market. So tell us what you've been up to yourself.
Yeah, first, SMCI is approaching the anchored VWAP from the high that it made just, it's July high right here at 732. So I'm betting that that's probably, going to run into some supply in this general area. But Neil, I've been sticking mainly to the ETFs in this type of environment. It's just what suits me best. The volatility has been enormous, and you said it hasn't been a good 2 days, but we made the low right on the open yesterday morning, and we've had complete market cycles. I mean, we've had a stage one accumulation, markup, distribution, and decline into the close. We had a little bit of a pullback here this morning, right to yesterday's anchor. If you look at the futures, and that was just a perfect buy opportunity first thing this morning. And now we're up just again trying to digest these gains right near the month to date anchor. So I'm looking for what I'm hoping we see happen, Neil, is that we get a little action like this. We break down, and as well as anyone that we like to often undercut these flush out lows and then begin a more significant rally that can hold.
Run the stops. And look, there's nothing, I never cheer for somebody to lose money. You never really want that. That said, all of the best bounces tend to be at levels where some weaker hands have gotten out and some shorts have been trapped. That's just how it is in trading. It's not somebody hoping bad things for other people. Like if you were looking for that SMCI long, the fact that somebody might have fat fingered before the numbers were out was the best scenario possible for you, because it just meant it was going to go higher. So to your point, when the futures make that breakdown, it's going to give you an opportunity to trap some people in a panic, like we saw yesterday. Right? Like yesterday was the perfect example of everyone was panicking and then the market opened up and you just wanted long. So I'm 100% with you on all of that. But if we could, you were just mentioning, I want to make sure we got this because you just mentioned that anchored level on SMCI. And I believe, and I want to make sure you have a chance to maybe say that again, because I have a daily chart up, but it just came right in to that top at about 7:30 and made the turnaround. So if I'm correct, you just called the top on SMCI.
732-ish is the anchor off of the high that was on, what is this date? July 15th. And, you know, the good thing is, too, you've just broken past these little highs that it made on the 26th and then again on the 1st of this month. So breaking beyond that little high, these little highs right in here, that is, and, you know, getting breakout buyers and people who have stops above there on the short side, that's often where you see the same kind of thing. You know, maybe we'll see something like this. And if SMCI can recover, it's still got its work cut out for it. I mean, we're below the anchor from the October of 2023 low. We're below the year-to-date anchor. We've got a declining 20, declining 50-day moving average. We have all this prior support in here that I'm sure there's a lot of people trapped looking to get out break even. So I think it's going to have a really hard time to be able to sustain an upward move beyond this knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people need that 800 level probably pretty bad there. And I'm glad you point out both the declining moving averages and then multiple anchors on VWAP. That's the best thing I love about is you have some degree of control as to where you decide to anchor. Some obvious big spots post earnings, or maybe there's like a gigantic news event for whatever reason on an individual stock. Nothing really comes to mind on the news event side, but you know, I'm sure Boeing's had a few that you could go back to, and or you know, like CrowdStrike would be, that's the most recent example there. Now, not Boeing from years ago, but you know, CrowdStrike has that. It wasn't in earnings. It was essentially, you know, that they muffed up a little bit, and from that day, because it's a significant event, you probably want to anchor to there. So outside of SMCI and waiting for some of those futures, we're not through earnings season just yet. I mean, we've had a lot of the big names. We still have Nvidia to come, which is certainly going to be a big one. Do you find yourself at this point in earnings season, which I call it the middle, you've gotten all the big names, now you're waiting for a couple of bad boys in a week or two? It's like that holding period where I think I'm not expecting to be very confident about anything going out the quarter or going for longer swings, because Nvidia could change absolutely everything in a heartbeat. So is it more like scalping ideas for you until we get out of the back end of this earnings season?
Yeah, I mean, that's still, you know, from what I'm seeing, that they're due on the 28th. So that's still 2.5 weeks away. A lot of the stocks that I like to trade in particular are really reporting this week. Yeah. Perfect example is Adara knows I've been trading at TGTX. I've been in cash on it, but they reported earnings again today, and the stock was up, 19%. So I'll be watching that stock again for maybe some kind of consolidation, pullback, and then rebuild and get going on the daily time frame. Those are the types of names that really I like to focus on, the ones that aren't always so competitive, where you have every algo, and predatory algo feeding off of those. I like the ones that just tend to be a little bit calmer and, for me, easier to trade.
I love the fact that you should see Adara's face light up when you mentioned TG Therapeutics there. Yeah,
because I saw that and we kept talking about that today, and I kept meaning to say, oh, yeah, that's Brian Shannon mentioned that one. But yeah, they had quite the little day. That one kept popping up on the volume scanner for me this morning as well.
There you go.
Yeah. Big short position in there.
You're 100% right. It's 24% short flow, which, hey, you can do a heck of a lot worse in an upward trending stock than to also have a high short float, because I can tell you pretty much if this thing sees the 24 level, there's going to be some people that are a little bit scared. 23 is the breakout, but I think if it can hang out holding above that. That looks absolutely gorgeous. Nice upward trend forming, and their 50 and the 200 being respected. I was like, and what I love about moving averages, VWAP and anchored, is that you don't have, if it's respected on the stock, then you can choose to respect it. If it isn't, then on that particular stock, maybe you don't care about it, which can be the best here. So only a couple of minutes to go. I didn't realize we're already at 4:30 here, Brian. So I'm looking forward to a potential breakout on TGTX now all of a sudden, which is a stock I wouldn't have looked at before, but believe me, it's going to be on my quote board tomorrow, at least for this potential move here. So SMCI, outside of looking for the futures, maybe liquidity grab that bottom. Any final ideas that you have out there for us?
I'm keeping it really more as a day trade environment. Like I said, I'd like to see TGTX settle down a little bit. And you said it perfectly, Neil, is sometimes, you have to look at it and say, is the market respecting the 20-day moving average, the 50-day moving average, this anchor or that? And if it's not, well, then, it's not that it doesn't work. It's that you move on to something where we can, find that structure around something technically significant, because it allows us to manage our risk and develop a risk reward plan based around that. If it gets blown out of the water because the market just didn't care about it, then why should we care about it?
I can't say it any better than that. And that's why I think you're a fantastic teacher. We appreciate so much that you come on every single week for us and just give a different perspective. And as we all know, and everybody, you can always find Brian at Alpha Trends and, of course, on the X machine, which I believe is called Twitter. The other place you can find him is, I'm pointing to it, Fabian, there you go. Anchored VWAP. We have multiple copies on the floor. There's one on the bridge that all the traders can read. We have one at the desk here. We've got one at the trading desk. Thank you very much, Brian Shannon, for your knowledge. It's not your only book. Your first was a classic. But shout out to you. We appreciate everything you do for us on the show. Best of luck in your trading the rest of the week. Hopefully this earnings season is as good as it's been to the start. Brian Shannon,
all right.
everybody.
Thanks,
Take
everybody.
Care. So humble too. And you know what's crazy about this? We just had him on, and one of these days when Brian comes to the trading floor, I don't know if he can still see me, but if he ever visits Toronto, see how that's empty? That's gonna get signed. Whenever you're in Toronto, Brian, I don't know if you're still, there he is. There's a thumbs up. Thank you so much there, Brian. And look, it's not to inflate your ego or anything. I don't know too many people. I've been trading for 20 years, right? So almost all the people I know that follow technical analysis have read at least one of the books, and a lot of people read that book. So it is what it is. If I want to geek out, I can geek out, and I can do whatever I want because it's our show. So it's just to recap the earnings here. Well, I mean, SMCI is going to take the cake. So SMCI. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. SMCI is pulled all the way back into 640. So SMCI, I felt like a lot of that reaction was going to be because of how it was grabbed underneath. And then that's why it exploded up, because you had somebody that could have been a little bit offside. It's still holding the gains, but only up 5%. That's not what we expected. So Brian had it he had the top, and he just called it for you, everybody there. If you were brave enough to short it, you just absolutely banked. RIVN was to the downside and now bouncing back up at 1480, so not bad. Fortinet was fantastic. Lumen was a bit of a mixed bag there, and Airbnb was absolutely nasty.
Lumen popped after, but it has like a 13% short, almost 14% short flow.
Of course it did.
Yeah.
It's contractually obligated to go to the upside, this stock. There is not, just before we do roll call, shout out to the daily chart of Lumen. Rest in peace, the 14% short, because it wasn't even that great, and it's still going to the upside. The shorts are crying right now. Thank goodness I am not one of them. Shout out to everybody that's long this name. But it's time of the day. It's 4:30. My driver's probably waiting outside for my broken butt. Which I just said the other way. By the way, here, apparently Uber's making a move to the downside. And let's get your names in the chat. Let's give big shout-outs and thanks to Bears versus Bulls, and big shout-outs and thanks to Brian and to Adara, who's about to drop
I am. I didn't realize it was starting now. Thank you, Bears vs. Bulls, for everything you do. Let's shout out Paradox. Let's shout out Baron Kia 2020 hookup. Let's shout out Christopher Holcomb. I'm not seeing any news on Uber, guys. Just, I did check on that move down. M. Kelsey, Penguin Dynasty, Asta, Janek Patel, 1320 Wolf, Rivian Millionaire. Yeah, Rivian, a little bit rangy right now, but shout out to you. Hey, Davis. We got Bears vs. Bulls here again. Jeremy Newman, Neil Roberts, Farm Trader. We've got Neil Roberts as well. Sebastian Marie L. Adam DeLuce, chilling with Sean over there in England across the pond. We got Daryl Flinch. We have Hey Davis. We have Blaze Wavy. We have Lionel Martinez, Picky Eater, Mike Breeze, Rich Naples, Odyssey Fights. Oh, they're coming in now. On to blockchains. Justin Swearingen, on Sowers, Neil, another Neil. We have Lorenzo. We've got Stacks. We've got Michael Spadafora. We have Charlie Taff. We have KK, Harman B. I was saying the name very carefully. Philanthropist Baker, Pillsbury. We have the Real Tech Geek. We've got so many names here. Sod, another Neil. So many Neils today.
Boom.
I'm Yorog, Donkey Trader, Trader Leah, Sebastian, Larry's Mobile Detailing. We have VWAP Trader. We have Daniel. We've got Hunter Alvarez. We have HN. We've got Mitchell Burden. We've got Name the Game. We have D. Westermeyer over here. For Profit, Osvaldo. We have 9 to 5 Grind, Girl Trader, Cali Cat, Bonkzilla, Blaze Wavy again, Gowan, Pineapple Undies, Adrian. So many names here. I could keep going, but I won't because we have to do things at some point.
That's how you end it.
Yeah, great way to end.
Pineapple Undies.
So much fun. I hope you guys had as much fun as we did on what was kind of a wild day. And now, given the fact that we had Lumen with that news coming out early, and then that questionable report, we also had Disney release news the day before its report.
Right.
I have eyes on DIS because I've seen this pattern and I know what it usually spells, and it's questionable earnings.
Doom and gloom. Yeah, because Disney was up on that increase in prices, and it's right back into the downside. Right before we get out of here, SMCI trying to catch a little bit of a bid. As you guys saw, a bit of a mixed bag on earnings, some up, some down, but it doesn't matter because we can trade it all. When you have an up day, we go long. When you have a short day, we go short. That's what it's all about. Just find those patterns. We'll be here for you every single day that the market is open. I want to shout out to Obi. He's doing a fantastic job filling in for Sean, who got to meet one of our viewers out in London, Mr. Adam DeLue. So big thank you to Fabian on the ones and twos. Big shout out to you, Adara. I'm not going to shout myself. I'm going to shout out to Bears versus Bulls, our entire trading family. But you know what? We get to do it all again bright and early, 8:30 morning at Trader TV Live. See you tomorrow.